hold on. Okay, I'm unmuted now. Can you guys see me? I feel like I'm on live. Hey, everybody. Okay, good. You guys can see me. Hope you guys are doing good. Sorry I'm late. I had to run to the pharmacy. Go get my medicine before they closed. But I hope you guys are doing good today. So I want to come on here. We have over 200 people in here. That's what's up. Let me ask for Joy something really quick here. Okay. So I hope you guys are doing good. So I wanted to come on here and just do like a part 2 of our discussion that me and Emily had yesterday on my podcast. And it was such a good discussion and I got such positive feedback. Like this morning when I woke up, my phone was like full of text messages. My manager texted me, then she called me. Like so many people just found that conversation refreshing. Because so many times we see where things are being glamorized. And I'm not saying that there's not a, quote unquote glamorous aspect. And I'm not saying that everybody who does drugs ends up, living homeless under a bridge. I'm not saying that everybody who strips ends up getting pimped out. But there's so many facets to drug use, the sex industry. But the unfortunate part is social media, Instagram, movies, rap songs, rock and roll songs, they only show you the highlight reel, like I like to say. They only show you the good part. They only show you the folks who are popping Molly and they're being able to, to smash all night because they're high out their mind. So, that's the good part. You can, go on and, bang as many girls as you want, but they're not showing you the side effects of that. These soul ties that we're creating and, hooking up with random people. Now you have STDs and you don't even remember hooking up with that person because you were high out your mind, or girls thinking like, can people not hear? Somebody said they couldn't hear. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Okay. Because somebody said they couldn't hear. It's just you, boo.
I can hear you, T.
Okay. Thank you. You need to fix your phone. That's like, it's true. Everybody else can hear me. But, so there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of twists and turns. There's a lot of things that go on in the industry, particularly the sex industry. And like I said, I've had a lot of friends, who have went down that road. And now that we're older, it's like, we have conversations about that. And I see how a lot of their lives turned out, and I remember when they were in their 20s and they were bragging and they were that girl and, they're getting money and you're broke. Why are you working at, customer service? You got a cute shape. You should be, getting money with us. And now you see them 10, 15 years later and they look way older than they are, stressed. They've done a lot of things they still have PTSD from. And now a lot of them who have children, now they're seeing their own daughters going down that same path. So sometimes it ends up being like a generational thing. And we can use Black China and Tokyo Toni, for example, how Tokyo Toni was a stripper for so long. And then she turned around and her daughter was dancing. And it's like, you can tell your kids don't follow in my footsteps. But if you haven't really changed your own path and your own lifestyle, they're going to, eventually follow. So it's a lot of nuances to it. And, Emily did such a good job of breaking that down. So I see we have quite a few people who already have their hands up, which is awesome. Just please, if you're going to talk, please make sure that it is with the conversation. I'm not saying you have to call in and say, I used to smoke crack. I'm not saying that. But don't call in and be like, we had an uncle and he did meth and my mom kept us from him. Like, don't just raise your hand just to be just coming up with wild stories that don't have nothing to do with the topic. If you are not in the industry, that's okay. Just listen, let people who are about that life, who have been there, let them speak, give them the floor. Please do not call in and be like, by the blood of Jesus, I never had to take off my clothes. Okay, like, what I mean? You'll call in, you'll be like, that has nothing to do with the time. We're glad you're saved. We're glad you never had to went down that road. We are happy for you. But we want to talk to the people, who found themselves in that situation. And it doesn't make these people bad people. It doesn't make them unworthy of being loved. It doesn't make them unworthy of being listened to because we all have a story to tell. You know what I'm saying? We've all been through some shit. And I know that was one of the things that really surprised my manager is she never knew that I had an addiction, you know, to pain meds and how I, you know, got that addiction. And a lot of people didn't know that. You know, some people do. If you've been a tea sipper for a while, I've talked about it. It's nothing new and it's nothing I'm ashamed of. You know, people try to call themselves shaming me 2 years ago by calling me a dope fiend and, you know, all this stupid shit. And, you know, people are asking, like, you know, is that hurtful? It's hurtful, but I know who I am and I know what I've been through. You know what I'm saying? And the shit I've been through mentally, physically, the surgeries I had, the same motherfuckers trolling could not walk a day in my shoes. You know what I'm saying? How many people can say that they left out the hospital where when they discharged me, there was nothing else they could do for me? They literally discharged me like she's probably going to die anyways because she's on such high levels of pain medicine. You know what I'm saying? So we'll just let her go home and die comfortably around her family. That is why I was discharged. You know, so to be able to wean myself off of 90 milligrams of morphine is not an easy feat. You know, so I would never judge somebody for how they come into their addiction and the things that they had to go through. You know, I feel like everything we go through in life, it makes us become the people that we are, and it makes it where you have a story to tell. You know, so I'm not ashamed of anything I've been through, things I've witnessed, things I've been, you know, just experienced, you know, and I don't want you guys to feel that way when you're sharing your stories as well. You know, we all have moments that we're not proud of course, as human beings, but it's nothing that, you know, you should let burden you, especially if you're trying to change and do better. So just remember that as you're sharing your story with everybody. So let me go ahead and start with the first person's hand I seen up here. Give me just a second. Graham cracker crust. If you want to go ahead and come on in and unmute your mic.
Hey,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, girl?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, honey. So what
Oh
did you
my
want to share
God.
with us tonight?
Well, this topic definitely hits home for me. I was actually kicked out at 17 and I was homeless because I was wilding out and my parents weren't trying to have any of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, at that point, when I experienced being homeless, that's when I really experienced like the first like toxic male energy that I ever experienced. It was like I remember I had nowhere to go and I had this friend, this homeboy, and he was like, "Well, you can stay over." And I remember like I was laying in bed with him and he was like, "Oh, well, you're not trying to like cuddle?" And I was like, "Nah, like I came here to have a place to sleep like out of the cold, you know."
Right.
And he ended up like threatening me like, oh well, if you're not going to put out, like you can basically get out.
Mm.
And that was like the first time that I ever realized that like men aren't always there to help you out at the end of the day, especially being like an attractive young woman and being petite.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when I first experienced that energy, like I was very turned off by it. I had situations where I had gotten too messed up and had people try to take advantage. And just those situations alone, like, luckily nothing really bad ever happened, but like those situations alone scared the crap out of me to the point where I knew I wasn't made to be a stripper. I wasn't made to turn tricks or do any of that. I'm not about that life.
Mm-hmm.
Like once I experienced that energy, I was like, no, I'll work 4 or 5 jobs if that's what it takes. But I think that it takes a definitely strong person to constantly mix their energy with other people's energy, especially men that only want one thing from them. It's
Mm-hmm.
like they only want your body and they want nothing else.
Right. You just become like a commodity to certain people, especially in that lifestyle. It's almost like you're not even a person.
And I was big into the club scene like when Molly was first around, and then it kind of turned to cocaine. And then, with the cocaine, like I remember getting cocaine at the time and I felt really really funny off of it. And I remember the guy I was with at the time said, "Oh yeah, well it's mixed with ketamine." I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, you know, it's like it's a new thing that they're doing now." And I'm like, "Well, I don't feel good. Like I literally feel like I need to go to the hospital."
Mm.
Like those kinds of people don't look out for you when they're going to supply you with drugs and they don't even know what's in it or how it could affect you. And then when you're saying, "I don't feel so good, I think I need to go to the hospital," they'll be the same ones sitting there to say, "Oh, no, you're fine. You're overreacting."
Yeah. And when you start overdosing, these are the same ones who will literally drop you off at the emergency room door and skirt off.
Yeah, and exactly. He was saying, like, "I can't go in the emergency room because I could get in trouble and
Mm-hmm.
all this and that." So, like, I've always had kind of a history with, like, with drugs, I guess you could say. And then in 2018, I was in a really bad car accident that actually messed up my spine. I actually had scoliosis to begin with. And then when I got in the car accident, it actually messed up some discs in my spine. So I've been prescribed on the pain meds and I've been on and off them. And I find that kratom actually helps. It's like an herb that you can take. It's like a opioid antagonist, and it's legal in my state. It's not legal in all states though. But it kind of helps in a way where it kind of tricks you into thinking you have an opioid, but you're not really taking an opioid. So it's
I've heard people talk about that. So, do you get that same high sensation like you would
um
if you were taking like a perk?
I don't think it's as quite as strong,
Okay.
but I mean it definitely gives you an energy boost and it gives you a pain relief, so it's kind of similar in that aspect. And a lot of people that are coming off of the harder stuff, they'll use that now to kind of taper off, and I've found that it definitely helps.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you're at the point where you're taking anything every day,
Yeah.
um, you know, you should definitely reevaluate because everything's good in moderation. But if you're having to depend on something every single day, I think that's when you have to see, like, do I really need this substance every day, or is this just draining my body and my soul? Is this making me act a different way? And one last thing, because I want to give other people a chance to talk. I'm just very excited to get to talk to you.
No, I'm glad you caught
I was
it.
literally about to fall asleep, and I was like, "Hold up, keep coming on," and I'm gonna be first. But I just want to say there is this documentary I was watching today on YouTube called Lost Scandalous. And
Las Scandalous.
yes, it's flagged, so you have to be over 18. It's got a lot of drug like use in it. But
Okay.
if you want to see like the real hardcore side of what could happen to you if you keep doing drugs, like
Mm.
that documentary, they go on the LA streets. They go right to Skid Row. They bring
Yep.
you to the hood, and they talk to people. They show you up front people making fake crack like out of pills and just all this nonsense. And it's crazy. Like that documentary was just something else. I thought I would like let everybody know to go watch it because it was insane.
No, thank you for sharing that. I just wrote that down, so I'll definitely check that out. Maybe we can watch it in a Zoom meeting or something.
It was
Because sometimes
definitely
we watch stuff together.
crazy, like the way they put it all out there for you. Like these people have no shame. Like the devil's just got his grip on their soul. Like they
Yeah.
just do not care. They want to get high. That's all they care about. And it's like if you keep doing this stuff, it might be a pill here or there. Then
Mhm.
you're on to a perk 30 here or there. Then you're on to a heroin here or there.
Yeah.
And you're gonna end up killing yourself with this fentanyl that's out there.
Yeah, I
It's
remember when fentanyl hit the streets. And like I said, a lot of my friends ended up getting addicted to like pills and, things like that. And that was always a fight with some of my friends because everybody knew that I had a chronic illness. So having a chronic illness, having sickle cell, I had access to like, perks
Yeah,
and
same
oxys.
here.
Yeah.
I have chronic illness as well, and my
Mm-hmm.
significant other has kidney stones. So, I
Mm.
mean, there's always pills floating around, but it's all in how you handle it. If you
Yeah.
can take one when you really need it and you're in pain versus I'm gonna take 5 of them in a day and get messed up, you know,
Right. But yeah,
it's
I've
you
had
have to
friends steal from me.
know.
I've had people come over asked to use the bathroom, and they're literally ruffling through my medicine cabinet. And I remember being one of my real good friends, we fell off for years behind that because I was so pissed because I'm like, you literally see me suffering in pain. Like, you are healthy as an ox. There's nothing wrong with you. You're choosing to take these drugs. I'm literally having to take this because I can't even describe to you guys what it is when you have a sickle cell crisis. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're literally hurting from your brain to your toes. Like,
Oh yeah.
every
Oh
facet
yeah.
of your body is just in pain. It's inflamed and
Oh yeah. I have
the worst.
fibromyalgia, so I
Yeah.
totally understand, like, my body gets totally sore, and I'm in the food industry. So I'm literally on my feet like
Mm,
hours, all hours of the day, just on my feet all into the night, but I love what I do, and I have to keep a good spirit and a good attitude and be lucky that I'm working. Like,
right.
I'm so
Right.
grateful just to have a place to live and, not have gone down the wrong path, to have a family that cares, to have God and all that. And I just want to say one last thing about the vaccine. All the people that are jumping to get the vaccination, I would wait a little while if you can, just to see what the side effects are, because, like, it's very scary. People are literally throwing themselves into getting it, but we
Mm-hmm.
don't know what the heck it could do to us. And I have a conspiracy about the world population and sterilization. And you don't know if this vaccination could possibly have something in it that's going to affect us to the point of maybe not being able to reproduce. That's
Right.
just where my mind goes, honestly. I
No,
mean,
you're
if you already
right.
had your kids and you're all set, go line up, get chipped. But I'm trying to have a baby, and I'm like sitting here like, what if this does something to my reproductive organs?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's where my mind goes. But then again, I am a conspiracy head, so
like all of us here.
yeah. So it could just, honestly, I say that to people and they're looking at me like I have 5 heads. They're like, you really don't think they would like research the vaccine first? I'm like, yeah, but it just came out, like,
Mm-hmm.
literally, and they're already saying in January people are getting it.
Right.
So
Well,
like, I
Graham
would
Cracker,
just wait it
thank you.
out.
Yeah, thank you so much for your input. I really appreciate everything that you added to the discussion here. So thank you. I'm going
Okay.
to go ahead and bring on some other people.
All right, remember to watch that documentary. It's really good.
Definitely. I definitely will. Thank you.
All right, bye. Love you, T.
Bye. Love you too, sis. So I want to kind of piggyback off of what she was saying with my friend. The girl went through my medicine cabinet and stole all my Oxycontin pills that I needed. And so imagine how embarrassing that was to have to go back to my doctor who had just prescribed me these pills maybe like a week ago, and they're supposed to last me a month. And I'm having to explain to him that my friend stole them. And he's looking at me like, you're a fucking liar. And I'm like, no, she went into my medicine cabinet and took them. And I'm like literally in tears because I don't have any pain meds for now that I'm having a crisis. So he ended up giving me more, but he was like, that's it. I'm not writing you another script for this month. There's people dying in the Midwest. There's in Nebraska, there's a big, Oxycontin thing, and people are dying from prescription pills. And I got the lecture. And so me and her, like I said, we fell off for years after that because I was like, you put me in a horrible position with my doctor, because you want to take my pills just to go get high. But it's that serious where people will steal from you. I feel like sometimes addiction is a demon because you don't even recognize your friends and your families and people who succumb to addiction because that's not what they would do in their normal mind. And it took her a long time to finally clean herself up. And you know, she's doing better. She's not like on the hardcore drugs. She's kind of swapped it out for alcohol. So that always has me concerned with her because she's a heavy drinker. But she feels like, well, I'm not taking pills anymore. I'm not shooting up. But it's like, sis, you're switching one poison for another, And of course, we're not as close as we used to be just because I'm in a whole different space and I don't get down with that lifestyle. But that's always going to be somebody that, I will always love dearly. So addiction and watching some of my friends and seeing what they've gone through has just made me, as somebody who has access to that stuff, be even more mindful. And even with me, like I've talked about before, I suffer from depression. And depression and chronic illness honestly goes hand in hand. And it got really bad, you know, with social media 2 years ago when I was getting trolled and, you know, told to kill myself and just all the horrible shit that people were saying to me behind a bunch of bullshit, right? And that's why I'm so close to certain people to this day, because it's like certain people really like prayed for me and I was able to cry on their shoulder and, you know, they really talked me off the ledge. What people have to remember is that when people have access to things like that, it doesn't take a lot to push somebody who's already suffering with depression anyways over the edge. You know what I'm saying? To where it's like, you know, you're taking a pill and you're taking another pill. And then eventually it's like, what happens if I just take this whole bottle? Because you're that fucking just going through it. You're so stressed, you know? So that's why for me, I always try to be careful and watch my words, especially when dealing with like friends who have addiction and who deal with depression and who have abused drugs. Because not saying that it would be anybody's fault particularly, but you can say certain things to trigger people that may push them over the edge to kill themselves. And it's not that hard to do when it's somebody who has access to drugs that if you overdose on, you're not gonna wake up, you know? So let me go ahead and bring on Kay Renee. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey T, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. How you doing?
What's up? I'm on the road, so that's why I ain't got my camera on. You know, I'm always driving, but hello, everyone. I don't have a personal story, but I know being back home because I had to go home for like 60 days or whatever because I had got surgery. But just speaking on the whole like withdrawal thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I learned something very, very interesting about the I think it's an opioid. Is Xanax? Is that an opioid?
You know what? Honestly,
Would
I've
that be
never done Zans.
okay? But my grandma, she has them and she takes the bars or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And she has been on them for years. My aunt said it was since my grandfather passed, which was 12 years ago. But my other aunt said it was even before that. So she was on them for years. But before like while I was home, she had went to the hospital and she had ammonia and she had a blood clot or whatever. So they had ended up taking her off of her Xanax. And she went through withdrawal, like right in front of my face. It was so crazy, like what she was going through. You know, she had chills, she was itching, she had panic attacks. She went back to the hospital 3 times because she thought she was dying
Mm.
from not having her Xanax or whatever. So it's just really crazy what these pills can do to you, and you become so codependent on them or whatever. So y'all just gotta be careful. And then I also had a boyfriend. He was addicted to perks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm listening to your podcast when Emily was talking about the Suboxone. He was actually on it. Now, one thing that I learned from him is that they sell Suboxone to get high. So yeah, so it's still like it still gives them that high. You know what I'm saying, when they can't
Right.
get pills. So I just thought that was very crazy too. But you know, I haven't had any experiences with addiction myself. I
Mm-hmm.
know my family suffers from it. Like, you know, my grandmother was an alcoholic. My dad is, he won't, you know, claim it, but you know, he, you know, drinks a lot of alcohol or whatever. So I just like see what it does to my family and I just stay away from like everything pretty much. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say. But you looked so pretty yesterday on live.
Thank you so much. You know, I'll be
No
switching the hair quick.
problem.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for that,
No
Kate. I really
problem. Y'all
appreciate
have a
it.
good one. Love you, T.
Love you too.
All right.
Yeah, it can be like a family thing, a generational thing, especially with like the alcohol and the pills. Some people were saying that Xannies or easy to get addicted to. Other people are saying it's not a controlled substance. I've never taken Xanax. I think it's for anxiety. I only hear about it like from music. Like, oh, I took 4 Xanax bars. I don't know. I just never had that. So I don't know if it gets you high, if you get a buzz off of it. I'm not sure. But I know they say it's for anxiety. But some people are arguing if it was like for a controlled substance or not. Okay, let me go ahead and bring on Shiley. Shiley, go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Hi, T.
Hey, how are you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I'm good. Oh my gosh. I have never spoken to you before and my heart is racing right now. Oh my goodness. I am breathing, Mom. Hush. Okay.
Oh, your mom's in the background?
She's driving me home from work. I didn't think you'd call on me this early.
Oh, no, you're good.
So I wanted to talk about my experience. Thankfully, she already knows this. So.
Okay, I was going to say, your mom's right there? What you about to spill? Okay. I'm glad she knows.
So I saw it being glamorized a lot when I was younger, especially the life of being a sugar baby. And
talk about it.
Yeah. And I remember I was 17 years old. We were living with my grandmother at the time. I was sleeping on the floor, my mom was sleeping on the couch, and I saw this Lisa, she's an Asian reporter, Lisa Liu.
Okay.
She was interviewing sugar babies, and they were just talking about how glamorous it was. And I ended up signing up the next day when I was 17. And I don't want to go into too much detail, but I had met a guy. We set up a date. I told him my age, and he was like, "Thank you for telling me," but it didn't faze him at all. And that was the beginning of a lot of, I would say, just a lot of mental trauma, because thankfully I wasn't physically hurt, but at that time and at that age, I didn't get into drugs much at that time, but it was statutory. So that just led on to when I became around 21 and 20. I'm sorry, my heart is racing.
No, don't be. Yeah, no. We're here to open for it. We're not here to judge you. I appreciate you being honest, because they glamorize it and they make it look like these men, as soon as they see you're this young, cute little girl, they're just giving you free money and taking you on trips and buying you bags. But there's a price for everything.
Yeah.
So go ahead and talk about it.
And at that time I was 17, and I was getting $300, $400, and at that time it seemed like a lot to me. But I want to touch on the drug aspect. I remember I met this guy, thought he was amazing. He would cook for me, had this huge house, and that is when I started to get into the laughing gas. And it's called Whippets on the streets. It's like where you inhale it, and it gives you like a 1 to 2 minute high, and you got to kind of like keep doing it to.
Where are y'all getting laughing
Sorry.
gas?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, where are y'all getting laughing gas from? I ain't heard of this.
He would order it off of Amazon, because it's you can buy it from like drug shops or like smoke shops and stuff, but it is pricey. Okay. And I became addicted to that for a year. He would try to get me to do shrooms, and the night my mom found out was just a whole complete mess. So thankfully I left that behind. But there are times where I still see it being glamorized on Instagram, especially TikTok nowadays. I love your TikToks, by the way, even though you don't really post.
I know, right? It's been a while.
And I still have an account on one of these sites, and every now and then I'm thinking, should I reactivate it and just see what's out there? But thankfully now I am a store manager for T-Mobile. I make my own money. I have a great 1-bedroom apartment. I'm working towards getting a car, and really that has a lot to do with you and my mom, because like I said, you practically raised me. And I remember one night when I first found you, I just sat and I binged all your videos from the Lovely Teen News Network to your main channel. And so I just want to thank you and my mom, since you both are like right here.
Oh,
so
you really cry.
so much. You really don't understand how much, your love behind a screen really means to some of us. So I just really thank you. Thank you so much. So I just wanted to share that.
Oh my God, you have me in here crying. No, you are so welcome. And that is why I do what I do. You know, and for a long time I used to ask myself, like, why do I do this? Why do I deal with the craziness, the threats, the trolls and all that? But I wouldn't change any of that for the world, because I know, like, just the things I talk about and how honest I keep it, it really helps people, real people, you know. And like I always say, we all have a story to tell. Like, nobody's life is perfect. It's just, we just, you know, we can't hear everybody's story, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I like having things like this, because it gives just regular people, like even you sharing your story right now, you're helping other people. You know, in the chat, people are tearing up. People are talking about, it's called whipped cream, and they've done it, but they've heard of it. I've never heard of it, you know, so it's like you're teaching me something new. And I think that's what it should be about, is learning from each other. Like, we're so quick to judge and bring each other down. But if you really know somebody's backstory and why they're doing what they're doing, it makes all the difference in the world. And you're so right. You know, when you're young and you're broke like that, like you said, your mom was sleeping on the couch, you were sleeping on the floor. So I'm assuming you guys were not in the best situation at that time.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. They hook us. They hook us young poor girls from the hood, from the trailer park. You know what I'm saying? And they show you this glamorous lifestyle. And they say, you know, you could be here, you could have this. And they make it seem like it's just so easy, but there's so many pitfalls with that. Even when you think about Jeffrey Epstein, he wasn't going and getting girls from prestigious neighborhoods, you know, who came from well-to-do families. All of those girls who were going to Jeffrey Epstein's house, he was going, you know, across the water to the trailer park trash of side of Florida to get these poor girls who were 14, 15, and 16, who, you know, maybe their parents were on drugs or their parents just didn't really have any money. And all I had to do is, you know, give this old man a massage for $200. Cool, I'm down. Then they go and they end up getting raped. And, you know, then they have to bring in another girl. So it's really sad. And it's like they use people who are in dire situations to feed their fetish.
Exactly.
And one thing I will say, and this is not to even sound racist or anything like that, but one thing that I've noticed with white men, and not all white men, I know I got white male tea sippers, but what I've noticed with some white men is that they do a lot of crazy drugs. I don't know if I'm being stereotypical. Like, I'm not saying that black folks are out here wilding and, you know, I see y'all rolling up weed and blowing, you know, rolling blunts and smoking weed. You know, I see a few people, y'all getting out. I'm not saying that, but it's like, you know, like some of like these white boys I know, they be like doing crazy shit. I'm like, who the hell just thinks to snort battery acid? Like, you know, just weird stuff like that, you know?
I would Google it because
it's crazy. So when you're saying that this man is spending thousands of dollars on laughing gas to get high, I believe it. I definitely believe it.
And there would be times, like, if we would do it for hours and I would go home, my energy would be drained, or I would lose feeling in my fingers and I would just like have a panic attack. And even though it's been more than almost 2 years since I haven't done it, I can still feel it messing with my mind sometimes, because I was on it for a year straight and I would see him probably twice every 2 weeks and we would do it for 8 hours straight. So it's real. It's real. And it may seem fun and glamorous, but all he did was give me a dog and buy me food. My mind, my mental health is not worth that.
Right.
So that life is behind me, and I thank you for bringing me up for a second. I love you so much.
I love you too, and thank you, Shiley, for calling in. And I'm really happy to see that you and your mother have a close relationship where you can just be open and honest with her about the things you've been through, because so many girls, they don't have that.
Yeah, very blessed.
So yeah, be definitely grateful for her. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too.
That was awesome. Yes. Yeah, Tide Pods. I'm not tripping. Okay, maybe battery acid. That was the first thing that came to my damn mind. But yeah, they be, you know, eating Tide Pods and stuff. I'm just like, what are y'all doing? You know, just people doing a lot of stuff. Bath salts, you know, just, you know, things to get high. And part of it, I feel like people are going through so much in life. They don't want to necessarily kill themselves, but they just want an escape. I think a lot of people are looking for escapism. And they find it through drugs, through alcohol, you know, even living vicariously through other people's lives, you know? So it's a crazy world. Let me see. Somebody in the chat says, I almost became a sugar baby in college till I found out I had to be a sister wife, and I ended up moving back home. Yeah, a lot of those sugar baby sites. And I remember when they were being promoted like on Dateline NBC, and they were doing all these investigative reports. And I remember even on MTV, they covered sugar babies. And they always made it seem like it was just really glamorous, you know, just some old white guy who has a lot of money and he doesn't know what to do with it. And he just wants to, you know, buy you things and make you feel good. That might be, you know, his intentions at first, but you'll find out how sinister somebody can be, you know, at the drop of a dime. You know, nobody's going to just keep giving and giving and giving, you know what I'm saying, and not expecting to receive anything in return. And that's the thing. You never know what they may have you do or what they may want, you know, want you to do for them. And then a lot of times these girls, because they've gotten so much from these sugar daddies, it's like they feel like they're obligated now. Now I'm obligated to not only sleep with you, now I got to sleep with you and your damn dog. You know, just weird shit they ask these girls to do. So you have to be very mindful when you sign up for sites like that. You never know what sickos are on there and what crazy fetishes and what crazy situations that you may find yourself in. Nothing in life is free. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and bring on Bree from NYC. Bree, go ahead and come on down.
Hey T.
Hey Bree, how are you?
I'm doing good, and yourself?
I'm doing great.
Man, just thank you for having the discussion. And you know, first, like with the drug conversation, drugs has affected my family. Like I have a cousin I never met because she dies from doing crack, and that affected her son and everything. So like that's my firsthand experience, like not meeting certain family members.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, my mom, she has MS, and she be in pain every day. But you know, she want to work. You know, I told her maybe she go on disability because how much pain she be in.
Mm-hmm.
But look at that, like she can't get painkillers because you know people abusing drugs and all of that. So you know, yeah, like that's with drugs. And for the sex work conversation, I just want to say, like, I just think it's funny for a lot of these men, right? Like, for example, Luther Campbell, right?
Mm-hmm.
He exploits so many black women, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when his daughter became a stripper, he disowned her. You know what I mean? And it's funny, like all these men, like they could abuse these women, do whatever they want.
Yep.
But when it comes to their own, oh no, you know, you're not related to me. I'm not giving you no more money, this and that. You know
what
I mean?
I always say that when men, it's always funny when men who are like that have daughters, and then all of a sudden they want to be holier than thou when it comes to their daughter. But when they were out here, you know, like with T.I., we could take him for example. How he's so quick to, you want to check your daughter's hymen, but you're trying to push your 15-year-old son to be out here just smashing anything.
Exactly.
You're not concerned with somebody else's daughter's hymen, just your own. You know, exactly. So it's really troubling when men get like that, because it's like, what makes your daughter your mother beyond reproach? Don't you realize that you're degrading and disrespecting somebody else's mother or daughter?
Exactly. And, you know, also back to like with the drug conversation real quick, I just think it's funny, like in the media real quick, like how with musicians, like, okay, we know Elvis overdosed, right? But like when it's a Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, or Prince, right? What's the first thing they bring up? Oh, they overdosed. She was on crack. You know what I mean? Like with these white musicians or actors that overdose, they try to like brush that under the rug. But when it's like a black artist that overdose, that's one of the first things they always mention.
Right.
And just thank you so much, Steve, for having this conversation. Like we really need this conversation. Like instead of people always talking about, you know, oh, who's dating who or what's going on reality TV, people need to talk about real conversations to help the youth, because the youth they're really losing it.
I remember when my son told my youngest son, we were all having a conversation with him about like, you know, just what kind of drugs are y'all into now in school? You know, because I'm trying to find out, you know, what are the kids doing? Because when I was in school, everybody was smoking weed. I didn't partake, but that's what a lot of kids was doing. So, you know, we was asking him, and he said, yeah, a lot of kids on my bus do Nicorette gum. I said, what? They do Nicorette because you get a buzz, that nicotine buzz. You know, so it's like, even, and you figure he was probably like 13 at the time, in 7th grade. And that's what they were doing. And I was like, please do not eat any Nicorette gum. If you want gum, I will buy you some Winter Fresh. It ain't that damn serious. You know, but that's what a lot of little white kids were doing on the bus. They were stealing Nicorette gum from their parents, and they would chew that in school. And then vaping got to be really big. So a lot of kids in the suburbs, because, you know, a lot of times people always assume that like drug addiction and habits are like in the hood or, you know, in the trailer park. You'd be surprised at how many of these suburb kids get down, get into their parents' alcohol cabinets. You know, they're vaping, smoking weed, popping perks, doing all types of stuff. You know, a lot of the drug use is more rampant in the suburbs than it is even in the city.
So true, because that's like when, like you mentioned, the opioid crisis. The Black community been dealing with it for years. Now, like we just moved from New York. Like, in New York, now that it hit Staten Island, you know, was a predominantly white borough. Now, we gotta have a conversation. But nobody said anything when it was affecting the Bronx, Harlem, you know, or Brooklyn. Now all of a sudden it's Staten Island or up in Manhattan, and now people care.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's the truth. And, you know, unfortunately, it's like once it affects, whenever anything affects the majority white community, it has to be a conversation. Now it's about treatment. It's not about just throwing people in prison and things like that. Now it's a disease. When we were growing up, if you was a crackhead, you was just a damn crackhead. We don't know why you keep smoking crack. You're just a crackhead. But now, in 2020, if a white boy's out here smoking crack, it's a disease. He has an illness. He can't stop. You know, so it's kind of sad that a lot of people end up getting criminal records, going to jail for years behind their disease back in the 80s and 90s.
So true. Yeah, and they still locked up today. Like, even my mother, she could tell you, she knows some people that got affected from that crime bill. You know what I mean? Yeah. I remember some young guys I grew up with, you know, like I was born in the early 90s, but I remember some guys on my block that they went to jail. They lined them all up and arrested them. Yeah.
Yeah. It's scary. It's scary.
It is.
So thank you so much, Bree. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you again, T.
You're welcome. So if people, if you want to talk, you just have to raise your hand, you guys. So let me go ahead and bring on, where'd she go? Millennial Mommy. So go ahead and unmute your mic, Millennial Mommy.
Hello, hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. I had to go back and make sure I had the right name on the Discord. So I'm glad that you're able to get in.
Hi. So, I'm from Detroit, so it's different than it is in Atlanta or LA or Miami, because we're a Midwest city, so it's a little bit more grimy, dirty. So the scene is different. I see a lot when I was dancing, they have a lot of rules and stuff in place in the government and in the city. So like back in the day, you could go and dance. You didn't need a card. All you had to do was be 18. And as quiet as it's kept, a lot of these clubs on 8 Mile were shut down because it was girls younger than 18, 14, 13.
Fake IDs.
Yeah, that one club got shut down over here because it was a 14-year-old in there. So they tried to put this thing in place where you have to have a dancer's card. So you go down to the city, you have to register, and you have to have a card if you're dancing within the vicinity of the city of Detroit.
Okay.
So this was a way for them to collect money and make profit off of the dancers, even though they're not doing anything. And
I didn't even think about that.
So yeah.
So you have to pay to get that card.
Yes,
from the city.
And you have to renew it every year.
Wow. How much is it?
When I was like $250.
Oh, so it's not cheap. It's not like a $10 card.
No.
Wow. Okay. And this is every girl in any strip club in the Detroit vicinity.
Yes.
So that's a lot of damn money.
Yes. And then the thing was, people was trying to get around it. Like, it was, if you're coming to do a one night only, the club owners would let you dance if you didn't have a stripper's card because it's one night only. But they would try to get by and say, okay, you were working here for your first month. Then the club owners would try to get on it. Okay, well, you can get your card through us, but you have to be registered through our club. So therefore, you would have to be our employee. So then you could get your card through the club, or sometimes the girls would just be dancing. But then the police got involved because they're called Vice. Vice would come in and raid these clubs, and the girls that didn't have their cards would be taken off to jail and get a ticket for prostitution, even though they might not have been prostituting, they were just stripping.
Okay, so you have to have your card on you in the
If
club?
they come in the club and you have dancers there, and they say, okay, all you dancers, they'll say, go downstairs, get your card, come back upstairs. Whoever don't have their card, you're gonna get a ticket.
Yeah,
and you gotta
the
pay
dance world has changed since the 90s, because I didn't even know that they was making y'all get cards. Because when we was young, you could go into the strip club at 14, 15, use your big sister's ID and make some money for the weekend.
And that's why I'm trying to tell people, like, it's and they think that it's they condition us to think that this is the life that we want to live, because it does. You do make money. I'm not gonna lie. I'll never sit here and lie and say I ain't make no money. You do make money, but it's at the cost of what? Everybody is profiting off of you. You think that you're in charge, but you're really not. Because you get that ticket, then you have to pay the ticket off, and then you still have to get a card.
Wow.
So on top of that, of course, you know, you have those clubs that pay Vice off. Oh, I got however many girls that don't have a card, how much to make this go away? And obviously those are the cops that, you know, were already dirty to begin with. So it's a lot of things that is behind the scenes that I don't think a lot of girls know, because it's changed. That's what I was saying in the Discord. Like, I was saying some stuff was left out, but a lot of things have changed now because, you know, the city, you know how, and you know, everybody knows our history in Detroit with Kwame Kilpatrick and how our schools are like the worst in the country for Detroit, for DPS. We struggling. And so, of course, the city is going to find a way to take more money from the people. And it's not just in Detroit. I think Flint works like that. I think
yeah, somebody said Flint does the same thing too.
See, yep, they do the same thing. And yet another thing, how I got into the game is a little bit different, and I just want to talk about it real quick because I want these young girls to be aware that you might think like you're tiptoeing into it. The way I got into dancing is not the normal way. I was actually looking for a job, like a regular job, like a waitressing job. And there was this ad on Indeed, and there was an ad on Craigslist, because, you know, I'm 25, so I started dancing when I was like 20, 21. So there's and there was the job ad on, I think, Monster. I think that was another, you know, site where you could go and apply for jobs.
Yeah, monster.com.
Yep. So it was on there, and it was for bikini waitresses, and they also did like catering events, and they also, you know, worked out at some clubs like the Shot Girls, you know, things like that. So I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. But when I know someone said, but Indeed and Monster, yes, these ads was on there. I still have my Indeed. I still have, because, you know, they keep a record of the jobs that you apply to. It was on Indeed. And so I'm thinking I'm going for a regular job, and it ended up being a pimp that I had met. It ended up being him trying to say that how he was playing it was, you can dance if you want to do that, but I'm not your pimp. Don't tell anybody that I'm your pimp, because I started working in the white strip clubs. I didn't start in the black clubs. So to get and sit in the club all day, he would tell people, oh, I'm their security. So he would say, don't tell anybody that, but tell them I'm your security. He would hold our money to make sure that we were protected, and to make sure that we wouldn't lose any money or have to fight with any other girls.
So this was the man that when you applied for the ad, this is who responded?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. This is who responded, and this was the game that he was playing. So of course, you know, once I figured out what it was, I'm not finna work for you. Like, I'm up on game. We might be in the suburbs, but I'm up on game. So I'm not even finna, but I, of course, took that business venture by myself and decided to do it alone. When I was talking to one of the girls in the Discord, she was a bartender. And a lot of the times the bartenders see more things than the girls do. So the bartender, she taught me how to tell if somebody was broke, tell if somebody came there to spend money, she told me, like, this is the type of customer you want to have. The bartenders know all the game, because think about it now. Even look at how the bartenders are glorified now. They're basically the strippers sometimes. Well, back before COVID.
Right.
Before COVID, they were the strippers because people were coming to see the bartenders, and that was causing so much drama between the dancers and the bartenders.
Especially in New York. Correct.
So it really started to become like that. And then even like that, it's a lot of politics in the stripping world that a lot of people don't know about, but they find it interesting. That's why shows like P-Valley is popular. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, in the media, that's probably the closest thing in the media that I've seen that is true. Because, you know, you had Players Club, but it really, I don't know, Players Club, I feel like it wasn't really a good representation, but maybe that's because it was back in the day. But now P-Valley is probably one of the closest representations I've seen. The only other thing I would say about if you guys are trying to be strippers or OnlyFans and things like that, even OnlyFans, I'm in the Twitter community of OnlyFans girls. I do not have an OnlyFans, but I'm in the community because I want to talk to these girls and I want to know what's going on. And I know some of these girls who say they have gotten stalkers from OnlyFans. They have gotten, because these girls feel pressured to go above and beyond because these celebrities get on there and they go above and beyond. So now they can't just post a picture.
Right.
If old girl over here throwing up on the people.
And when I caught that out, I was a hater. But
it's true though, because now they might have just been posting a picture, right, or, you know, playing with themselves. But now, old girl over here doing this, so they feel like they got to step their game up.
Yep.
So the thing is that it's causing a lot of friction and trouble because some of these girls aren't being safe. Sometimes people are desperate. You got to think about the times that we're in right now, and so they're doing these meetups. They're letting people go, you know, doing other side ventures out of OnlyFans from their OnlyFans subscription base. And they think that that's okay. And that's how you have these girls doing meetups and being stalked. Mm-hmm. So it's in all facets. Even the Kylie who came on a few people ago about the sugar daddy thing. Mm-hmm. The sugar daddy thing, that was real because I ran into that in college. These girls really did have sugar daddies and was buying them cars and paying their bills, but not every sugar daddy is going to be like that. Mm-hmm. I can guarantee you that, because those sites are full of scammers. Those sites are not full of real sugar daddies. A lot of those sugar daddy, sugar baby meetups, they don't even meet them on those sites. It's not real. Usually they'll meet them. Sometimes they'll take you out of the club like an Anna Nicole, or sometimes you'll meet them, you know, going to places where rich white men are. I mean, let's just be honest. They're not spending their time on a sugar daddy website where they could be traced. Most of those people want to be discreet. Right. So I just, like, you guys got to start using your common sense. Like, they're not going to sign up on a website where all their information can be found. Mm-hmm. But I just want to tell some of those girls, it's not all glitz and glamour. So just be careful. Make sure you guys, if you want to be in that life, because I'm never going to, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. Y'all grown. But if you want to be in that life, just make sure that you know the ins and outs. Do your research. Find some girls that you can go into it with together. I wouldn't advise you do it alone. It's not safe. The same way you have to look over your shoulder about these people kidnapping you, it's the same stuff that can happen inside the club in front of people. You guys have to make sure that you think things all the way through and think about the consequences before you do it. That's all I want to tell people before you take that dive and step off the cliff. Make sure you know what you're looking at when you look down off that cliff.
Right. And you have to be prepared mentally because, again, yes, we're not going to say that people aren't making money. Somebody was even saying in the chat that they would get jealous when they would see strippers on YouTube, you know, counting out their money, what they made for the night. But again, remember, social media is a highlight of your life. So
it's a highlight, but just because they made $2,000 that night, you don't know they could have made $20 the night before.
That's what I'm saying. So social media is a highlight. So they're going to show you their best night. They're not going to show you that Thursday, like you said, when they made $20 and they had to pay the house. They were in the
exactly, home. And you left with less money than what you came there with.
Yep. It happens all the time. Nobody, I don't care who you are. You know, I remember,
even health insurance. You guys got to remember, and I was the one climbing the pole and swinging from the rafters and dropping and doing the split, because you guys got to think, if you get hurt, you don't have insurance.
Remember the stripper
you gotta
that
pay
fell?
for that yourself.
Remember the stripper that fell and everybody started to GoFundMe for her?
Yes, because she had to pay for that herself. You saw the club was like, we not paying for that. That's not how this works.
Because you have to sign a waiver.
Yep, you do. There's paperwork. There is paperwork
with them high heels and you bust your ankle. Too bad, so sad. Next, girl.
There's paperwork involved, and they explain it to you too. That is one thing I will say. They don't just get over on people. They sit there and they explain to you what you're signing. They let you know what it means. They let you know everything. That is one thing I can say, because they don't want to get caught up. But if you have to sign it, or you're not going to be dancing. So.
No, you hit on some really good points, and I really appreciate you coming through, Millennial Mommy. So thank you so much, for sharing your story.
Yes, no problem. I just because I just see like the media is pushing it to be making it seem like, especially for females. I know they push it for males, but it's more for females, because they're trying to tell females, be independent, be yourself. Like, if you gonna sleep with somebody, why do it for free when you can get paid?
Right.
So they're pushing that down our throat, and I just want people to know that, yes, they're making it seem like the life, but everything has its ups and downs. Everything has its good and its bad. So even though they're only showing you that highlight reel, like T always says, it's always gonna be, think about, I don't know what an opposite of a highlight reel is, but it's gonna be just think about all the bad things that happen and put it in your highlight reel. Make sure you insert that when you look at that.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, sis.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me on. This is my first time ever talking, but I hope I taught somebody something. That's all. But thank you, and God bless.
Amen. Thank you so much. Now, that was awesome to hear from her, because she's actually, she was a stripper, and she's giving it to you guys real. And that's why I say, never look at anything you see on social media in fillaways, because trust me, they are showing you the best part of their life. So yes, that stripper probably made $2,000 in that one night, and it looks so good, but they're not going to come on there and show you, damn, this is all I made for the night, $20 after I paid my tip off, the house tip. So yeah, you have some nights where you're getting that money, and you have some nights where nobody's spending any money. And I don't care who you are. You can be the baddest chick in the club. Everybody has their good and bad days, just like being a waitress. Some days you get good tippers, everybody's giving you a $20 tip. This table and gave you $100 tips. And then some days you might just get a table of nothing but black people. And it's like, you know, the old stereotype, black folks only tip $5. That's a joke. But, sometimes you might just get a table of people just want to give you $5, so everything has its good and bad, so never look at that and just assume that, well, damn, if she's making $2,000 every night, I'm going to get in the game and I'm going to make that every night. That is not true. That's not true. So, just keep that in mind. Let me go ahead and bring on Andy Bella. She's been on here for a while. Andy Bella, go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Yes. Hi, T.
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing good today. And yourself?
I'm doing good.
Yeah. I just wanted to chime in, actually on both topics. But I'll start with the drug portion first. As far as that goes, like, you hit the nail right on the head when you spoke on kids from the suburbs. Like, I grew up in the suburbs, and man, like, I was very popular in high school, so I fit into all crowds. So like, I pretty much kicked it with everybody and saw how everybody got down, like all races. And I would say, like, hands down, those white kids, bro, they were wilding in high school, let me tell you. And I hung around like the skater types and stuff like that in high school.
They love their Adderall.
Yes, bro. In the early 90s, they were doing some of everything. I knew some who dropped acid. They like did crack. They did all types of stuff. And me, like, I only did weed. Like, and they would try to get me to partake in it. And I always like, I just had a stigma from early on because I saw the bad side of drug use, unfortunately, through a family member.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just all types of things. When that person couldn't get their fix, they would steal stuff from out of like my grandmother's house. I mean, it was horrible. Like like one time my grandma wouldn't give her money, and it was like one of my aunts. Mm-hmm. And like my grandma told her no and put her foot down. It was like so bad, she literally did not care who was in the house, and she lost custody of her children. And like, yeah. And like my grandma stepped up as the guardian, and like my mom helped my grandma out with them. And like, so I was always close to them. Like they were my extended siblings, I would put it. But we just watched their mom do so much, from literally damn near burning down the house because she couldn't get money. And then I remember one time it was like real bad, where she was like going through withdrawals or whatever have you. And she shaved the sides of her fucking head like a mohawk, and like wrote 666 on both sides of her head, and was like just chatting and shit. And I believe I was like 15 at the time.
Yeah, those drugs will bring demons out of you.
Yeah, and it's no joke. And ever since then, I'm like, whoa, certain drugs that has like a high addictive rate, or that had the possibility of overdose attached to it, mm-hmm. I always felt like, yeah, that's not for me. I would always steer clear of it. So I kind of in a way thank God that I was able to see that, mm-hmm. because going through high school, the type of crowd that I hung around, like those kids were into everything from crack to meth. They would ransack their fucking mom's medicine cabinets to get, I still don't know what type of pills one of my friends, and I don't want to name drop, but he was a little skater kid. And like he would ransack his mom's medicine cabinets to chop down whatever she had in there and just snort it. Mm. And yeah, I remember that they used to do stuff like, I remember hanging out one time, and it was this thing called Freon. And that's the stuff that comes out of central air conditioners.
Yep, ACs. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And they would literally go into like houses that were on the market, mm-hmm. like for sale or either like for rent. And they would like go into the backyard and fucking get to that and put it inside of a bag and like literally inhale that. And they're like, you want to try it? And I used to look at them like, wow, what do you guys come up with this stuff?
I'm telling these white boys, I grew up in Minnesota, so them white boys, they got down up here. Like, who just thinks to just try battery acid and Freon and just weird shit?
Exactly. Those are
I remember back in the day, being in like high school, I was over south. This is when huffing was really bad. I don't know if you guys remember huffing. I'm a 90s kid. But back then, people would huff spray paint. And I remember when it hit the Indian community, the native community over south, and you would see natives walking around with huge gold spray paint rings around their mouth. That's how you knew when people were huffing. It'd be like gold or silver. And it was just the craziest things, like just this, and they just be walking around like zombies with like this gold mouth or this silver mouth. And that was like the thing back then.
I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you remember the Spike Lee movie Crooklyn.
Uh-huh.
But I believe they had like two of the characters in that movie used to huff. Yeah.
Red beans and butter.
Yeah. That was my movie.
I love me some Crooklyn, honey.
Same here. But yeah, it like that part is crazy. And so like And to tie in last week's thing, um, with the DNA ancestry thing, like that topic I wanted to hit on, but there wasn't enough time last week. But that is so true because and that kind of ties into this story as well. Like my dad was a pimp, and like my mom dated him, and like she, from what she has told me, like she was never one of like his girls that was out there, and she would always like try to get him to stop doing that. Like she was that one that would like try to get him to change his life around. And they ended up conceiving me. Long story short, things didn't work out between them, so my mom ended up eventually leaving him. And yeah, after my mom left, he ended up getting one of like his hosts pregnant, and my mom never really agreed with his lifestyle. So she pretty much shielded me from it, but like, and he it's a long story. I'm trying to spit it out to not take up so much time. My dad eventually ended up in prison for life. Like, so currently he's in prison for life. That was like back in, I think like the mid or late 90s, like when they tracked him down or whatever. And like my mom had long severed ties with him since then. Like, but we always knew where he was, like as far as being in prison, but my mom never wanted to take me up there to see him, never wanted me to have no part of that. But as an adult, I decided to go ahead and try to find him and find out what prison he was in, because I knew that I had siblings. And man, let me tell you, like I ended up getting lucky when I wrote him, and he wrote me back and gave me the information that I needed to set up a meeting between me and my siblings. And it's crazy because pretty much we lived in the same neighborhood, and we went to all the same stores, everything. I'm pretty sure that we've crossed paths. And my cousins, like they're around my younger sister and my younger brother, because all of my siblings are younger than me. I'm the eldest out of all of them. Come to find out, like all of my cousins were friends with them. Like not all of my cousins, but like my cousins that live in San Diego, they all knew each other. They knew my sister and my brother, and they're like, and we all have the same last name. So they're like, man, we always kind of figure, but we never really wanted to ask. But then it came out like, bro, we all knew each other. Like we crossed paths in everything. And I just thank God in everything that I never, like that I was in a relationship the whole time that I lived in San Diego. So like I never had the chance of like dating one of my siblings. That would have been crazy.
Right.
But that's important. Like
Well,
to
thank you
know.
so much for sharing that with us. I'm going to go ahead and get on to the next caller.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good, but thank you so much for your story and just everything that that you brought to the conversation. I really appreciate it.
Okay, no problem, T. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
You too.
So let me go ahead and bring on Victoria. Go ahead, wake up, sis. Hey, Victoria. I was like, nah. I said, okay, let me wake her up.
Hey y'all. I want to say thank you for having me on and having the chance to talk. And I actually started listening to your podcast last night, and I finished it up this morning. And what really sat on my chest when it came to the whole glamorization with this whole sexual thing is that, like, when I finished graduating high school back in 2014, and I'm still in college now, is that, back then as a senior, we was having this conversation in the band room, and, we was talking about how, if you don't have, I was like fortunate enough to be one of those students to like be able to get scholarships, like at least a 4-year scholarship to help pay for a lot of my tuition, but I still had to like pull out loans and stuff. And, what really sat on my chest today, and when I thought about it, is that, you know, there are some people who would like make you feel bad for like trying to go in debt, trying to do the right thing, trying to go to school, trying to like be a good person. But then again, you know, when you think about stripping, you think about trying to get in that lifestyle, it's like to me, it's like a double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is like they like a lot of people even now make me feel bad. Like, why did you go to college and all the rest of that? It's just a scam, blase, blase, blah. But I'm like, well, you know, I didn't grow up in the streets, you know, not to diss nobody like that. You know, I was raised in the church and all the rest of that. So for me, when I started like indulging in like weed and stuff, it was like late high school, early college. And so like for me, when it comes to like sexuality and all this stuff, it is very important because I'm from wretched ass Florida.
Uh-huh.
And down here, it's like sexuality and all that stuff is used as a fear mongering tool instead of just saying, hey, the reason why we don't want you to have sex or don't want you to get involved because it's a spiritual and mental thing. It's dealing with a lot of emotions, you
Mm-hmm.
know. It's easy. I mean, I understand disease and everything, all that is real,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also really, it's for me, it's very spiritual, you know, and that's what hit home for me because like even like in high school, I had a teacher. Apparently, there was this rumor going around like I was dating a teacher, whatever. And actually, one of my teachers did approach me, and I didn't know no better. Um, I wouldn't say we dated. I wouldn't say that, but it was still inappropriate. Nothing like bad happened when it came sexually. Most we did was made out, but even then, I knew it was wrong. And then, like once I found out what was going on behind my back and to my name, you know, I severed that tie because I'm like, nah, this, you know, I didn't know no better. But by then, people just made me out. I'm all over the place. Forgive me. But
Oh, you're good.
I'm nervous. I had it all together. I'm sorry. But it's just like, you know, people make me feel bad. But even then, it's like, um, when it comes to sex and, you know, all the rest of that, it's a good thing in the right context, like how you said in your live stream, you gotta be able to read the room, meaning like if you get married, you know, that's a good thing. And because you know you could procreate and whatever, that's your husband, that's your wife, or whomever, that's your mate. But it's like really, I really felt that like your conversation with Miss Emily and like how they glamorize it, but they glamorize it and then they condemn us, and then it's like for me, it's like a double-edged sword. Damn if I do, damn if I don't. You know what I'm
But
saying?
don't you find that interesting? And this is one thing that I always hear from young girls. It's like we live in a society now, right, where you're not allowed to say anything about people who live a certain lifestyle, right? So, because if you say that's not cool, you stripping, you hoeing, you're a hoe. That I mean, that's just what it is. Not saying the strippers, like people who are like actually like I'm about to fuck him for a Birkin. You're a prostitute, right? And they will say that is slut shaming, right? Like you're shaming people, you're shaming, sex workers. We have to get out that mentality, which I agree, because some people are in there for different reasons. Some people are in there because they think it's glamorous and they're just trying to get some money and they don't care. Like Emily was even saying, like even some of the strippers, they don't care. I don't care about soul ties and energy. I just need to get my bag. And some people are there because they're forced. We also have people who are, kidnapped and placed into the sex industry. So we don't want to label everybody with one brush and just say, oh, well, they're just whores and dismiss them, right? But
Right.
in the same breath, you'll have people who will condemn somebody like you who's like, well, I don't want to be a stripper. I just want to go to college. I don't want to hold myself. I just want to get an education. Why can't there be both? You get what I'm saying? And that's
Right.
something I never understood. Like, even when they would remember, like 2 years ago, where every time Cardi B would trend, Aisha Curry would trend. Like
Mhm.
it was like this battle. Like, we need more Aisha Curry's and F Cardi B, or oh, Cardi B's that girl. Aisha Curry's just a bougie bitch. And it's like, why is there not room for us to have different types of women? And that's
Right. Why can't we all
yeah, we
coexist
can
and all the same time? Like,
right. Because I mean, let's not act like at the end of the day, yeah, it's so easy to condemn a porn star, but yet and still, porn is one of the most watched things in the world.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, so
Thank you.
it's such a contradiction. I never understood. That's why I was really pissed off at Nadeska. Because for you to sit here and allow Sukiana to talk about classy hoes and talk about women who don't partake in that lifestyle and talk down to them like they're, you know, beneath her. But if somebody of that stature talks down to her in that manner, then you're slut shaming. And my thing is, Nadeska, you don't carry yourself like that. So why are you not having the girls' as back who carry themselves more like you than a Suki? There's room for both.
Right.
I think that's part of being a woman is there's always that competition, you know, street versus, you know, the suburb girls, you know, the stripper, the more overly sexual girls versus the girls who want to keep it more classy and, oh, I want to show my goods for my husband. Well, damn it, I want to show my titties to the world. You know, it's just like, it's like that versus, and it shouldn't be that way. Because there's room for all of us, because you never know what caused somebody to go down that particular path. You know, whatever it is.
Right. And I don't tend to judge, you know, it is what it is. But it's just like for me, like even I had somebody who was in that world that looked at me as a bougie person just because, oh, you went to college and all the rest of it. And it just took one moment. Like we were just hanging out and she just so happened to see me roll up some weed, y'all. I'm sorry. But she happened to see me roll up some weed and she was just looking at me all cross-eyed like, what you doing? I'm like, I smoke. What you mean? And then it's like from there, it's like, wow, she really thought I was just type of bougie, oh, you think you better than me type. And it's like, no. And honestly, I told her straight up, I be looking at y'all and like the way she looked, she was bad. You know, she was most likely one of them chicks back in high school who was the most popular, but now that you see her and she's in the club and she's doing this, she got a whole bunch of kids, you know, people look down at her. But to me, I didn't look down at her because my oldest sister, she has 7 kids of her own. You know what I'm saying? So it's exactly what you said. Why you can't coexist, and it's just such a double standard. You condemn all this sexuality, yet you glamorize it. Like, I don't understand. But thank you.
No, thank you, and thank you so much for the phone call. I appreciate it, Victoria.
Anytime.
Definitely. So let me go ahead and bring on Gen Z. Gen Z, go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Hi, T. Can you hear me?
How are you?
Hi. I'm one of your probably younger tea sippers. I'm 18, and
you still there?
She had muted herself.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to mute myself.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, so I got out of high school not even 7 months ago. So I wanted to talk about how I see like people my age glamorizing sex work because of like female rap and how it's praised. Like I know 6 people. I'm only 18. I know 6 people that have OnlyFans that I went to school with, and that are doing stuff like that. And I just feel like people my age think, since they see these female rappers talking about how how they only have sex with guys if they give them money, or even like Beyonce when she said on that demon time I might start OnlyFans. Like I don't think people my age think like you will never see blue.
Let me stop you right there, sis. When she said that was a dog whistle.
Yes.
That's what people don't realize. You know, a lot of times we look at stuff you know, at surface level, and we just see the dances. I'm dancing to the Savage remix. That was a dog whistle. Everything that's in music is for a reason. Because if you notice, with that one line, the OnlyFans subscription rate skyrocketed. People ran to create OnlyFans. So that was another way to get young girls enticed in joining that platform because Beyonce said it.
Exactly. And I don't think people my age think like that. Like, I think they think only guys that like them are joining their OnlyFans. I've heard of this girl who on her OnlyFans, a girl that didn't like her joined it, and when she tried to get a job, they sent her nudes.
Oh,
and
gosh.
So it's like, and then to me, it's like, it's not even just like being a stripper. These pictures are online. They're there forever. People can always look you up and see it.
My issue with nowadays, because you're so young, when we were growing up, right, we always had, you know, the strippers and the back page girls and all that shit. But the difference was there was a certain level of couth. We don't talk about that anymore because now anything goes. You can't judge me. You can't say anything. Even if you did stuff like that, I remember my homegirls who were stripping, unless like they told you, you would not know. They didn't carry themselves like strippers. They didn't walk around like strippers. They weren't bent over twerking at every party. When I see people like, let's say, I'm gonna take Meg for an example because she puts this whole thing as I'm a college girl. I'm a college girl. I'm in college. What is the difference between Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B? In their mannerisms and the way they carry themselves? I'm asking you.
I feel like
I'm talking about not their music, not their lyrical, the way they carry themselves, the way they dress, the makeup, the way they're constantly twerking. Cardi B was raised in the streets and had to become a stripper, right? That was her whole backstory. Megan is not from the streets. She's a suburb chick and she's a college chick. But the way she carries herself, what is the difference?
I feel like even what you're talking about with Megan Thee Stallion, I feel like girls my age glamorize her. Like what you're saying, I want to add something else. There was this scam that the basketball boys at my high school started people doing. They're like, oh, I just made $300 on my phone. And people are like, what? How are you doing it? How are you doing it? And what they would do, they would go on those sugar baby websites and they would scam old men. And they got a lot of people doing that. And I did it and I was making money. I'm not going to even lie. I was making more than I was at my minimum wage job. But it does make you feel horrible. I hated doing it. And that's why I stopped doing it. And a lot of people my age do that.
Right. But back to the Cardi B and Megan thing, because you didn't answer the question, but everybody else in the chat did. The difference is there is no difference. And that's the problem. There's no difference between a Megan Thee Stallion or a Cardi B. And that is that even when a girl is saying that I'm a college student, I'm smart, I'm in college, I'm in college. But every other song from you, the way you carry yourself is no different than a stripper from a girl who came into the industry as a stripper. That tells you right there that they are trying to push a certain agenda to sexualize women. Even if you're a college student and you're smart, you still have to carry yourself a certain way to be seen.
Yeah.
Because
I feel
at
like
that point in time, when people were strippers, that was a certain lifestyle that was more or less kept in the dark. You know, you didn't mix your, like Emily was even saying, you didn't mix your stripping life with your real life. A lot of times strippers and people in that industry, they didn't have Facebook pages. They didn't have Instagram pages advertising. You didn't mix that. But because now the lines are so blurred between reality and the online world, you have a collision of both of these worlds. And what's happened is that a lot of young girls are finding themselves in really bad situations. Like you said yourself, one of your friends started an OnlyFans. One of her enemies came on there and took all of her nudes. They wouldn't have access to her nudes if they weren't posted on the internet. Back in the day when you were stripping, there were no camera phones. There was none of that. So you had somewhat of safety, you know, you had somewhat anonymity. So yeah, you might be, the most you might get embarrassed is you're on stage dancing and your aunt or your uncle or your cousin walks in and they see you dancing. So yeah, you might be embarrassed in front of your family, but now in order for you to eat in a lot of these new sex trade industries, you have to post your nudes. And that stuff, once it's on the internet, it's there for life. It's not down.
And I feel like I can see, like, I don't think a lot of people my age have the like foresight to see it's gonna have lasting impacts. Like if I was to post on my Twitter, like, it's okay not to do an OnlyFans. People say I'm sex shaming people. I'm against sex workers, but that's not what I believe. I'm I'm not a closed-minded person, but I'm just like, I don't think people, like, you'll never see Blue Ivy on OnlyFans.
Well, I mean, that goes back to what we were saying a few streams ago. Remember Rod Wave, I don't know if you listen to him. Remember, he caused controversy because he said, you know, Jeezy told us to sell crack, but his son went to a private school. So yeah, you never see Blue Ivy on OnlyFans. That'll be you and your friends on OnlyFans. That will be my kids' friends on OnlyFans before it will ever affect her daughter. And that is why, as people, we have to, you know, we have to see through the bullshit. And sometimes when you speak truth to power, that irritates people and it makes them feel away. So they come up with words like you're shaming. You're shaming. Like I told y'all, if the shoe fits, I'll wear it. I'll be whatever shamer you want me to be. But the truth is the truth. You know, so that's the part that's unfortunate, because a lot of these celebrities, they put out a certain imagery. They put out a certain message, but their kids are going to the best schools. Lil Wayne, he's one of the biggest perpetuators of drug culture. Always drinking from 2 cups, drinking lean, and you know, he got about 4 dreadlocks left, so that shit has really messed him up. But look at his daughter. She went to the best schools, lived the best life. You know, whereas the kids who were listening to his music and trying to follow his footsteps, they're not living like a Regine.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to have discernment when it comes to stuff. So thank you so much, Gen Z, for everything you had to add to the conversation.
Thank you.
Yes, I really appreciate it, sis. So let me go ahead and bring on Marie Antoinette. Marie, go ahead and unmute your microphone.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. I was just over here braiding my hair.
Oh, I seen it. You was hooking it up.
Yeah, I need to redo it for work. I just wanted to come on here and talk about drugs. I'm a bartender. I've been working in a club for many years, since I was like 22, like at a club. So I work in a very fast volume place. And like I would work during the day because they would have poker and like people would come play poker. So every day at work, and be a lot of regulars. And there's a lot of people that were on the mollies and on all of that stuff when it came out. And when you working, like, of course I would take a drink or something, but I would, like, I have to work. So I'm not like on no drugs or nothing. Like, you see people. It's different when you sober and you see people. Or even when you're just a little tipsy and people like extra messed up and you're sober, like you see the.
Sorry about that. Somebody unmuted their microphone. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Go ahead and finish your point. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it would be people in there like really like wilding off of drugs, and you can tell like, and they wouldn't really have a problem telling you. They come up to me and get a drink, like I just took a Molly, like I'm lit. Like it would be because that was around the time, you know, that Trinidad song came out. I'm sweating, and like it was like people, yeah, like people were serious, but it was for real. And like you would see like people just coming throughout the night, like on drugs, like visibly on drugs. Like, how did y'all even get in here? Like, what's up with security? And then it's at a certain point where like the club owners don't care. Like, and these people are like visibly messed up. Like, y'all shouldn't be out. Like, are you okay? Like, are you okay? It was one customer, like he just was falling slowly for about 10 minutes. I just sat there and watched him. It was a Sunday and it was like nobody, there was just poker. And he was just slowly falling for about 10 minutes. And then he dropped his bread on the floor and he picked it up and then he slowly ate it. And I was just like, something is wrong. Like, and I knew, like, when he left that day, I was like, yo, get home safe. I don't know where your friend is that you came with, but I want you to get home safe. And he was just in his own little world. And he got home safe, but eventually that same person, like 3 or 4 years later, passed away. Like, because he was just living a life of just doing the most. And like I said, these are regulars that I'm talking about. Like, I see these people every day and every week. So, like, it's some people you see living that lifestyle that you just know it's like, this is not going to end well for you if you don't make a change, because like it is affecting you to the point where you're not normal. Like, you need to be like in a hospital or something, because like it's affecting your brain cells. Like the way they would talk after a while, it was like, are you like, what language are you speaking? English, please. Like, I can't even understand what you're trying to say. Like, like
Now,
and
do you
like the
feel like
music.
some of it, do you feel like some of, a lot of this too is normalized? Because I feel like when we were growing
Yeah.
up, I'm not saying there weren't people who were doing drugs and you didn't see like your local crackhead and, here and there, but it's almost like it's become so normalized. Like there was a time where people were ashamed to be high.
Yeah. Very
Like
much so.
they would like sneak and, pop a pill or put something under their tongue. And like I talked a few streams ago about going to pool parties in LA and you go into the bathroom and people are literally doing lines in front of you. You want some?
Yeah.
Hell no, I don't want
Yeah.
that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like there's no shame now. Now it's
Yeah.
so acceptable. I don't like, we'll go out to like clubs in downtown Minneapolis and you'll have like white boys coming up to my homeboys like, hey, you know what I'm saying? You got some blow, you got some this, you got, and my homeboy, do I look like a damn drug dealer? But it's like, and before you'd be scared to ask somebody, do they have certain things? Well, they might be the police. Now
Yeah.
they just assume everybody's doing drugs and you have to have an extra pill on you. It's crazy how normalized the whole drug use and the whole drug culture has become.
It's the music too. Like a lot of the music that they put out, it really perpetuates the fact that you think everybody's on drugs. You think everybody smokes and drinks and does this like on a regular. They think everybody is just out here trying to get like lit, like their version of lit every single day. And it's like, no, that's not. And so like when you hear these songs come on in the club and then over the years, like you see the changes that people do because of the music. Like I said, I've been working in the club for many years. Like I started as a waitress and then I transitioned to a bartender, and you just see, especially behind that bar, you really get to see how people act and how they move, and then they'll come in normal and calm or slightly quiet, and then like an hour later, like they're beyond lit, and it's not alcohol. Like you couldn't have drank that much alcohol that fast to be as lit as you are. Like you were obviously just waiting on your drugs to kick in. So it's just interesting to see that, like to physically see somebody go through the motions of like being on drugs and you just sitting there sober, like, and everybody is lit too. So it's like, okay, I guess this is what we doing now.
Right.
Yeah.
No. Well, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate what you had to, include with the conversation. And that's very interesting, coming from somebody who works in that industry, as a bartender, and you're seeing it firsthand. And even, like we were saying a few years ago, everything in music was Molly. And when I first heard about it, I'm like, who is this girl named Molly? And it was like, no, it's a drug. It's like, oh, like, they got all types of new cool names for stuff.
Right.
And now, it's just, it's all these different names, all these different ways to get lit. It's the same shit, just a different name wrapped in a
Very much so. And I'm in Atlanta too. So to put that in perspective, so where I am, I'm in Atlanta. So the club scene is popping. And right now, nothing is closed. Like I have to work every weekend. That's why I cut my schedule down to only Friday and Saturday. Like I don't have time for that. Like I have to go to work. So I'm there, but I'd rather not be at work because they just don't care. So I'm too masked up every time I go to work.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. Well, thank you so much again, sis. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good one.
You too. So let me go ahead and bring in Mr. Talk Your Shit. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Oh, wow.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Oh, I never thought you were going to call on me. But I wanted to say something that was kind of deeper when you were talking about this today with your podcast. I wanted to say that us as Black people, I want us to be very vigilant on how the system was created and how we are commodity and disposal. And a lot of people are not aware of that, and I want to kind of break down on that topic. And what I mean by that is like, this system literally pushed guns and drugs into our community, created a ghetto, and this was an experiment to see how far Black people would go with this. And just look at the prison system, and the policing system is corrupted. And then you obviously know that they're not going to change it because they see us as a cash cow. So, do you hear me?
No, I hear you. I'm listening.
Oh, so I feel like people, as like especially Black people, and people in general, I feel like we should be aware of, drugs is another way to push and usher Black people into prison. And I feel like it, for example, like school pipeline, how if a black kid is caught with drugs and stuff, they tend to go to jail higher with a higher chance than a Caucasian or a Latino or Hispanic person.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm not saying to be a shamer. If I don't care what y'all call me, a shamer or not shamer, I don't care. I'm gonna say what it is. But I feel like we as a black community should be very vigilant when it comes to drugs because they see us as a criminal. And you can see based off that 13th Amendment where they basically said, we're not going to treat you as a criminal unless you are committed with a crime.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, I'm nervous right now. So
no, don't be nervous. I think you're making some really good points. Because we have to be honest, a lot of the negative stuff is fed to the Black community. A lot of our music is very low vibrational. People don't want to, admit it, but it is. A lot of the affirmations are low vibrational affirmations.
I want to say something.
When Asian Dot was talking about, I won't talk to a guy unless he has 3 bodies under his belt. The fact that we've normalized the word bodies, that is so evil. Like a body, that is somebody killing somebody. That is somebody taking somebody's child, somebody's husband, somebody's brother or sister. But we normalized it and we desensitized it where we don't even call them Joe Schmo, Tavares, whatever. We call them a body. He got 7 bodies. So it doesn't even resonate now that this person killed 7 people. So yeah, it is by design. And then how do you keep your mind away from all the dirt that you done did in the streets?
Yeah.
By taking drugs. It's just one big cycle.
I graduated from school like 7 months ago because I'm also 18.
Okay.
And the thing that I witnessed in school was very I feel like it's traumatizing for a piece of paper, a diploma. I'm literally going through all this just for a damn piece of paper. What
were some of the things you were going through at school then?
Because I was always the type of person that, can see through something and I can call it for what it is. I'm like, okay, this is bullshit. A lot of kids did not fuck with me because I was like, this shit is not going to take you to a good path. And they would I'm not going to fucking hang out with you no more.
Because they thought you were square because you weren't down to do all the stuff that the other kids were doing. Okay. Yeah.
Legit, I remember one time when I was going to use the bathroom, there was a vape, what's it called? I think the container.
The vape cartridge?
When you put I think the liquid inside, the container was in the toilet. They left it in the toilet. It's very sad because it's just I don't know. It's just school was very the energy in school was very it was just very scary. I was just where are we heading to?
Yeah.
The kids didn't care about
at this point, and with COVID, it's not helping. But I know before COVID, because I told you guys before, my brother works in the school system. He's a behavioral therapist.
Yeah.
He deals with the kids at the end of the hallway that that people don't really want to be bothered with because they're just bad as hell and don't listen. And it is sad because it's you talk to these kids, but the biggest influences right now are definitely not the parents. It's the entertainers. Yeah. It is the rappers. I can't tell you how many kids who hit me up now that they're out of high school, they're 18, 19, and their whole goal in life is to be a YouTuber. Or how can I make it on social media? I want to be a TikToker. Again, with any situation, this is not the norm. The norm is to not be a YouTuber. The norm is to not blow up on TikTok and have 10 million followers and get a Dunkin' Donuts deal. That is an exception. But we glamorize certain things so much that these kids feel well, I don't have to work. I don't need to go to college. I don't need to get good grades. I'm just going to be a gamer. Well, a lot of this stuff, the ship has sailed. A lot of things you had to have jumped on it when it first started. So it's very hard to break in now and be, the top gamer in the industry because you already have to have a fan base, the FaZe Clan and all that stuff. So you just have a lot of kids who are just watching social media people and they're watching these celebrities and those are their goals. That's what they want it to be. And I know even for us as kids, yes, we had the Janet Jacksons and we had the Ice Cubes and we had the Snoop Dogs and so many of my friends wanted to be rappers and singers and entertainers. But we also had real people in the community doing shit. So we also had lawyers to look up to, and teachers and paramedics, and there was that stuff was glamorized as well. But nowadays it's not glamorous because it's not seen as cool to have a 9-to-5 job. Oh, you're a square.
Yes.
Because it's cool for me to flash a bunch of money. Y'all don't know how I got it, but the fact that I can floss it on social media, that gives me points for this generation. And the problem with that now, look at how many rappers are getting popped and going to jail. Look at all the shit that G Herbo was showing off, and people were like, "Oh my God, I want to be just like him. He's balling." Now we find out this fool been scamming since 2016.
Yep.
So that's why I say you never look at anything on social media and dictate or dedicate your life to what you're seeing, because you're only seeing a highlight reel. You're not seeing the sleepless nights that G Herbo had when he couldn't sleep at night, because when you're doing dirt, it's very hard to get a restful night's sleep because you never know when they're going to come knocking at your door, especially when you're doing shit with the feds. So while it looks good on social media, while Casanova was flexing his body on OnlyFans and getting money, he couldn't sleep at night because he done did so much damn dirt and ran his damn mouth on Vlad TV. He knew eventually the feds would come after him. So we need to start glamorizing regular people again, and regular jobs, and being good people. And until, the society, social media, people who have platforms, until that's glamorized, it's not going to change, unfortunately.
There's, I want to say something is that, to be honest, I don't watch TV and I don't watch movies, and I don't, I'm rarely on social media, besides just looking at you and some other people's posts. I'm really not, I really don't have a social media account, because I just see, I can just see through it, and I see how the toxicity just got, overwhelming. I was like, you know what, I can't do this no more. And I feel like a lot of people, I me personally, my way of, just calming myself down is always just drawing. I, love to draw. And, I had posted, one of my art on, Discord. I would just sit and draw for days, because I can't handle the social media realm. It's just too much. And how you broke down how it's kind of similar to the sea or the ocean. It was just I don't know. I just can't. I just can't. Honestly,
you gotta find what works for you. And
I just can't. Yeah, I can't go in that realm. That's something that I just can't. It's just too negative, and there's not a lot of positivity like you on social media.
Well, that's good that at a young age of 18 that you're so woke and aware. That always impresses me when I see young people that are just so aware and they think outside of the box, because it's not a lot like you. So it's a very lonely place. It's a very lonely place when you see through the BS.
Yeah.
Even for me, when I was your age, I was always into computers. I didn't know I could make it work for me. I remember taking computer class and building my first website, which was dedicated to Wu-Tang Clan, because I was a big fan of theirs. And I was the only Black girl in the class. Everybody else was white dudes. And none of my friends understood, why are you taking computer classes? You're such a boy. You're a lesbian. All this weird stuff, just because I'm thinking outside the box, Yeah. So, you'll always have that. It's hard to be different, but you have to be strong enough to stand in your own and make no apologies for it. And fast forward 20 years later, the thing that people clown me about, I'm making a living from, So you have to look at stuff like that.
I want to say something before I go. Is that I remember we was in art class, and usually, I had this teacher, and she specifically had to make us have 2 notebooks. And one was for drawing, one was for expressing your feelings and ideas. And I remember for her finals, she had made us, she had a piece of paper, and she said, draw whatever you want to do, whatever you want to draw, and explain to me why you drew it. A lot of kids fail that test because they don't know how to think for themselves. And she was shook. She was like, wow, y'all really can't, students have been, kids have been programmed from day one to just being told what to do. Oh, you have to do this, that, and that. They don't even think for themselves no more. It's just sad.
Yeah, it is. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Taki Shit. I like you coming through. You made a lot of good points.
Yeah. Thank you.
You too. You have a good evening. Yes, people are asking me. Yes, that's a really real thing. Females in the tech industry, a lot of people assume that you are a lesbian. I don't know why, but I've always been asked that throughout the years. You know, nothing wrong with it, but I don't think that makes you a lesbian because you're into more masculine things, because they assume that women, we should be more into Mac makeup than Mac books, you know? So yeah, it's crazy. Look, somebody said just like female truck drivers. Yeah, there's certain, thank you for pointing that out, sis. There's certain, you know, jobs that people attach to men. Just like with nurses. A lot of people will clown a male nurse thinking like, you know, a nurse, shouldn't he be a doctor? Same thing with IT. Same thing with female truck drivers. And it's like, no, you know, anybody can do anything. Female coaches, yeah. My gym teacher, we thought she was a lesbian for years in elementary school. She wasn't, but we all assumed she was, you know? So I don't know, it's just like a stereotype. Don't give me the line, honey. That's just what I heard over the years. Let me go ahead and bring on Heather Sugara. Heather?
Hello, I'm sorry. I'm
Hi, how
doing
are
my
you?
nightly chores, so I'm good. So I kind of popped in late, but I wanted to tell you, so the people that were talking earlier about the Xanax and the Suboxone and stuff, Xanax is definitely a controlled substance. It's a narcotic. It's very addictive. It is for anxiety, but people definitely take that.
Okay, so when you
to get high.
I've never taken it. When you take Xanax, what does it do? Does it make you feel high?
It makes you feel high. It makes you feel sleepy. It makes you feel loopy, kind of out of it.
Okay.
And I live out in the country, like redneck country, like really country. And literally the drug of choice out here for all the white kids, whatever, is meth. It's like most of them don't do anything but meth. And I mean, I know that each area or whatever, or each race has their drug of choice, but out here it's meth all day. Very, very bad. And out here it's like coke, they call a rich man's drug. People out here can't afford it. And so they all do meth. And as far as Suboxone, I know about that because I take that. I took that because, you know, I got hurt. I started taking pain pills. The doctors push them like crazy. And then next thing you know, it's like, oh, now that we have you nice and addicted, now you can't take them. Now go try to get them on the street. So then methadone came along, but I was too afraid to mess with methadone because everybody said that was like a heroin come off. So then it became Suboxone. As long as you're careful, like with anything, it's not a problem and it'll be okay. But I can definitely see how people get high with that, and people definitely sell them. And people, I mean, just like with the fentanyl. So, I mean, it's just, it seems like everybody's found a way to do something with everything. And to me, it seems like meth was the easiest thing to make and cut. And so that's what they do. Because, you know, you can like mix up anything.
Yeah, with the whole meth situation, because I know that really affects, like, what state are you in?
Texas.
Okay, so you're in Texas. I know it's big in the Midwest as well. And I remember seeing pictures like years ago of like, you know, the faces of meth. How like within a year, you don't even look how you look when you
Exactly.
start. It's just a poison. And I would
that
think
is 100% fact.
Yeah, I would think that over the years it would taper off and people would stop. But it's still like a drug of choice in many places. And they know the ramifications and they know what can happen when you use meth long term. So why do you think
a lot of people that they have a battery acid in it, jet fuel. And it's like, why would anybody deliberately put that in their system? But you get to stay up and you go crazily. And I think that's what a lot of it is. But the only difference is people don't realize that when you're outside at 3 o'clock in the morning with them little, they call them tweaker lights on your forehead, and you're out there cutting grass with scissors. That don't look obvious. That don't look like, what the hell are you doing? That seems normal. And like, that's the stuff they do. And so, I mean, yeah, but out here in Texas, I mean, in different areas, but like I said, you know, I live in the country and that's a drug of choice for a lot of people out here. And you definitely see a notice. I mean, it's like they start getting like what they call, I think, tweaker acne. And it's where they pick at they pick at themselves constantly. They've got like all these big like scars and indentions. They lose all their teeth. And they go from a decent weight to no weight. And I mean, and it definitely is like how the pictures show. That's 100% fact. You will see somebody that looks good, that has their whole life going for them, and they start doing meth, go downhill. I mean, I'm sure like with heroin and everything else, but meth is really bad out here, and that's the one that I know about. Not because I've done it, but because I've witnessed it. My mom was really bad on it, and sadly, my mom ended up passing away, and I think a lot of it was with meth. I think meth just destroyed her body.
Yeah, I can believe that, because of all the chemicals that they put in there. And that's the thing that people don't realize with a lot of this stuff. That's why I think that's where we get the misconception that somehow prescription drugs are safer or cleaner than if you're getting your meth on the streets. And there's some truth to that, because I to this day, I believe that my sister-in-law got a bad batch of ecstasy pills. I believe that till this day, because I remember she was fine. She always smoked her weed. And there was some pusher in town. And I remember she was dating this guy. And he was like, you should try it. Because that was a new thing. This was like, I was pregnant with my oldest son. So this was almost 20 years ago. And that's when ecstasy was like hitting the streets in the Twin Cities. So that was like the big thing. And she was dating this guy. And he's like, because they were calling it rolling back then. Let's roll together. Let's roll. Because you'd be up all night having sex. And I remember the dude came to the house, to bring them the pills. And the dude was like, you want to try? Bitch, I'm pregnant. Hell no, I'm not trying that. So I was like, no, I'm good. So I watched her and they took it. And I remember they were waiting for it to kick in. I'm just like, y'all are just weird as hell. Y'all don't even know what because he literally just had two pills in his hand. You don't know where he got that. His hands may not even be. People don't even think about that. And all I know is that ever since then, she has not been right. She got addicted to ecstasy. This was a woman who owned her own home, who had all three of her children. She lost all her kids to the foster care system, lost her home. She had a good job with the Ford plant, lost her job. So I watched drugs literally just destroy her. And now 20 years later, she's just like a shell of a person. I still remember who she was before then, but it's hard to just see how much she's deteriorated and, she talks to herself, then it's turned into mental illness, bipolarism, so like people forget, like when you're doing those drugs, it can bring on other illnesses to you, like mental illness, because your brain will start going, because you don't know what chemicals are in those drugs. So I believe that a lot of the mental illness that's around, that's so prevalent nowadays, it's not technically mental illness from people just, going through things. It's from the drugs. I really believe I really do.
Yeah, because they have no clue. They just take somebody's word. I mean, they take somebody's word it's ecstasy. They take somebody's word that that's a pain pill. They take somebody's word that, it's a Xanax bar. And you don't know what you're taking. You're just hoping that the person is honest. And it's like, really? I've never known the drug game to be honest.
Right.
So,
no, that's true.
But I mean, yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
And they had something once called booty bumps. This is going to probably trip you out. Booty bumps. What it is a person that had
Your phone is muted.
I'll just
say it again. You had went out. So what is booty bump?
Oh, did it come back in now?
Yeah, you're back in. What is booty
bump? Anyways, a lady had colon cancer. And so they would give her little syringes, like some little small syringes of morphine.
Okay.
Well, because, her rectum was where everything, she had bad diarrhea from the colon cancer. So they gave her morphine, to ease the pain. She was selling those. So people were literally like buying them and like, well, this is how you're supposed to take it. So people would like buy them and they were called booty bumps. And it was like, who would do shit like that? Yes, literally goes up your ass, like no lie.
I don't know if y'all can see my right now, but I'm just like,
wait. But yeah, look it up. Yeah, it's morphine and syringes for colon cancer, and they call them booty bumps. Well, I don't know if that's what they call them out here, so I don't know what their real technical name is, but yeah.
And how many people have overdosed of that? Because when you put things up your rectum, it's a different process than when you swallow something.
Yeah.
Because when you swallow, it has to break down through your digestive system. When you put things up your butt, because remember, rappers
your lining is thinner.
Popularizing this. I don't know if you guys remember when Lil Boosie and other rappers were talking about putting an E-pill in females' butts. They didn't call them booty bumps, but they were, you know, they were putting ecstasy in females' butts, and they would go crazy. Just like people who are severe alcoholics, sometimes they'll give themselves alcohol, you know, through the butt.
Yeah.
Like, I forgot what those things are called. You know what I'm talking about? Them little syringes.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember what they're called right now.
Right? And they'll give themselves alcohol through the butt because they can get drunk a lot quicker. You can die from that. You can die from
Well, they say the lining in your anus is so super thin that it's able to get into your bloodstream a million times quicker than it is like if you just swallow a pill or drink something, you know, because it has to go through all the, you know, all the your digestive tract. But up your butt, you don't.
Yep, it's called an enema.
Yeah, there you go.
I couldn't think of the name, but yeah, it's called an enema. And people will fill up their enema with alcohol, and they don't know the dosage, you know. So they're shooting it up there, and yeah, you're drunk and you won't wake up. You know, you've died.
That is so true.
Overdose. Yeah, I didn't know they were doing that.
Yeah, that's really.
That is insane.
And I mean, just because somebody has cancer, it's like, oh, hey, you know, we can get this, and well, you know, that person is low income, or you know, just they want their meth, and so it's like, hey, you know, let's swap, or you know, like, you know, give it to you for some other money. Well, thank you for letting me talk. I so appreciate that, and I've been watching you for about 3 or 4 years now. It's funny how I started watching you was I originally thought you were Toya because I was watching Growing Up Hip Hop. And you sounded a lot like Toya. And so I was like, is that Toya talking about Regine? And I'm like, wow. And then I realized you weren't. So, but I do enjoy listening to you talk about soul ties and esoterical. So if you ever want to talk more about that, please do, because you teach me so much. I'm beyond, I love listening to all that. So
thank you so much, Heather. Thank you. I really appreciate you calling in.
All right. Thank you so much. I enjoy this Zoom.
Bye.
Bye.
This has been such an awesome chat. It is 9:01, you guys. Like look, they're talking about the tampons. Yes, honey. I remember hearing about that too. Girls dipping their tampons in different drugs, not alcohol, because of course it's gonna blow up, but like lining their tampons, I don't know, like in crack or something, and then sticking it up their wahoo. Woohoo. The things that people do to get high, that's why I'm just like, what is life? You know, the things that people do to get high, it's insane. I've heard a lot of stuff, but sticking morphine, because I know what morphine does to me, just taking one pill in my throat, and when it kicks in, it's like, I just want to lay down. I could not imagine taking shots of morphine up the ass. Like, whoever's doing that, they're lucky if they even wake up the next day alive. It's crazy. It is crazy. But we learned a lot of stuff here, and I'm happy. So I'm going to go ahead and take one more call because it's already 9 o'clock. Let's see here. Sparkle 1178. Sparkle, go ahead and unmute your mic, sis.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. How are you?
Hey, you know what's funny? When you said you was going to take one more call, I was like, please let it be me. Please let it be me.
Look at that, the power of suggestion.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh. I'm such a fan. I really am.
Oh, thank you.
I'm such a fan. I'm in here eating my potato greens right now too.
Okay.
But what you were saying earlier about escapism, I feel like that's what it was for me. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm 28 now, but I had my daughter when I was about 23. And after I had her, like, I don't want to call it postpartum because she was at least like 8 or 9 months by this time, but I just didn't feel like myself anymore. And I was like going through something. And can you still hear me?
Okay, we can hear you now. Sorry.
Okay, so no, someone just called my phone. See?
Oh. Okay.
But yeah, so at the time I just didn't feel like myself. I was just going through a lot. I was working as a CNA at the time, and it's a lot of hard labor. You know, I'm very small, I'm 5 feet tall, I'm very small, so it's a lot of hard labor. And I will always just be coming home from work saying my back hurt, I got a baby crying. You know, I just didn't feel like myself. But at the time I was dating a dealer. So I started taking Percocets. And
he was selling in Perks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it started it started off like real slow. Like it would just be, I would come home from work and I would say my back hurt and I'm like, oh, let me get a perk. And I would have a perk. And my mom, she's passed on since then, but we were always really close. So I told her about it and she would always tell me it only take 3 days to form a habit. And I would always just laugh it off because I've never been a pill taker. Like I didn't even take Tylenol if my head hurted. I'm more of a have a cup of tea and meditate type of girl. But again, just the back pain, just postpartum, just feeling stressed and everything. So I was taking the Percocets. It got bad. It went from like 0 to 100 in like a matter of 2 weeks. So like
you got addicted that quick in 2 weeks?
Yes, in like 2 weeks. Like I'm telling no lies. It just all happened so fast. And like someone said earlier, you really begin to feel like you need it.
Yeah.
Like I would take one before I went to work. I would take one before I came home. And honestly, I felt like a functioning addict because I was still taking care of my child. I was on time for work every single day. Nothing had really changed in my life. It's just I was just always high. And I felt like the people around me didn't know I was high, except for like a select few, because Percocets make you itch. And every time I would be high on a Percocet, I would scratch the tip of my nose consistently. So like someone who was close to me, who also did perks, he caught on to the fact and called me out on it. But it was like, what can you tell me when you popping them too? Right. You know what I'm saying? But I got over it. Like I never had to pay for them. So I think that's what had me so on them, the fact that I wasn't like spending any money or like, you know what I mean? Like trying to support my habit. It was like really at my disposal, and I always struggled with anxiety since I was like young. So I had tried Xanax, but it didn't make me feel high. It just really helped with my anxiety. So I just went back to the Percocets. And what you were saying about the music. So I was a dancer before for like a month. I was like 20, just wanted to try something new. And I wasn't dancing at like a strip club. It was like a speakeasy type situation. And I was back then. Like I said, I never was like a pill taker. I didn't smoke weed or anything. I drank, but the place that I was working at, I felt so paranoid in there that I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I just had my bottle of water and I would go in there and dance. But I felt like I never made any money because you're working amongst a bunch of girls willing to do anything. So there's like girls like literally in there like on the dance floor having sex. And I remember the one guy I would talk to, like every time I was there, he would always tell me like, use the bathroom in the front because the bathroom in the back is where all the girls snort coke. So if you use that bathroom, they're going to think you snort coke. You know what I mean? It was a lot, but that's when I was a lot younger. And again, what you were saying about the music, it was future for me around the time that I was like doing the Percocet. So I really don't listen to too much like the current music. I'm more of a like 90s hip hop, KRS-One type girl. But it was something about Future and his music. And I kept saying like, this man make me want to do drugs.
Yeah.
And then at one
think
point,
about think about, to get esoterical real quick, even in the Bible, they said Lucifer was the master of music.
Yes.
Yes. And a lot of these celebrities, there's a lot of subliminal masking in music where you can listen to something and eventually you'll feel like you yourself, like there's been times where I've listened to like just hardcore drill music, because you want to listen to what all the damn young kids are listening to. And it's like, now I feel like doing a drive-by. Oh, hell no. Turn this shit off. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, but yeah, it's like the power of suggestion because you almost become one with the music. You just do.
Yeah.
Somebody's telling you Percocet, Molly Percocet.
Yes.
You're putting it to a melodic beat.
Yes.
You're not, after a while, you're like, well, damn, where the hell do I find some Percocets?
But then at one point he came out and said that he had long ago stopped using drugs and he never said anything because he was concerned that people wouldn't think his music slapped the way it did back when he was supposedly on these drugs.
Right.
So that's really it. It's a whole lot more, but that's the summary of it all. Like everything you talk about is so true. Oh, that was the other thing. So when I was like about social media, so when I was about 12 years old, I live in Philly. I'm from Philly, but I was raised in Jacksonville, Florida. So when I was about 12 years old, that's when I lived in Florida. I was a track runner. I had like a little body popping. So like I got a lot of attention from like older men. So I kind of went through like a phase of like promiscuity, like not necessarily having sex, just always up in like grown men's faces, sitting on laps, doing all the wrong things. And when I think about that time, you know, I know if I was 12 years old in this era with social media, it would have been a lot worse for me. Like what I was doing then was bad, but if I had social media on my side, there's no telling what would have happened at that age. You know, I feel for these children in this day and age with social media and competing and, you know, just not knowing who to look to for a role model. I feel for them so much, see. But that's it.
No, thank you so much, and thank you for sharing your story, sis. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. So
Thank
thank
you.
you. So it's 9:10. Let me go ahead and bring on one more. Boo Songs, if you want to go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hi, T.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing okay, man. I thought, well, actually, I'm not doing okay, but it's okay. I have COVID. Okay. So, I just wanted to come on here and tell you, so I have lupus and I'm suffering from COVID right now. And like 2020 has been hell, right? Had the flu, had all of that. And because I have lupus, there's 3 different types of lupus, right? You have systemic, discoid, and so on. They're all autoimmune diseases though. For systemic, you can automatically get disability, right? So keep that in mind. I have discoid. Even though for months I've been fighting COVID, right? Back and forth. I can't get disability, right? My great aunt, who's passed away now, she's had cancer but she got shot in the head. She tried to get disability because getting shot in the head, she got grand mal seizures, right? Because of those grand mal seizures, though, you would think, you know, you're falling out, you're biting your tongue, all of that, you cannot work. So she became an alcoholic, though, and was like really out there on drugs and stuff. Then she could get disability. Her son, he also had serious back issues, like his back will lock up on stuff from him. He couldn't get disability for that. But until he became a drug addict, he got disability. And it's like the system is literally made for us people who have actual disabilities to have to go fighting back and forth, to get depressed, to be hooked on drugs. So you can get the help that you need. Because like right now, I've been off work for over a month because I'm fighting for COVID because I don't have an immune system. And it's like, the way I look at it, it's going to be an endless cycle. No matter how many times they say we need to talk about this conversation or whatever, there's no talking about it because the system is working against you to be an addict. They want people who are poor, that don't have generational wealth, who don't have means, you know, or a family to back them up, or a full family of healthy people to be able to help them out, to take care of them. And it sucks.
Yeah, I can believe that. And it is a cycle, unfortunately. And the problem is sometimes when people have a chronic illness, it's like they'll get denied when they apply for like disability and things like that. They'll be denied over and over and over again. And then you'll have other people who are just like, oh, my kid is just bad as hell. And they'll get an SSI check. It's like, wait, what? So yeah, you know, I don't know what goes into the approval process, why some people get approved worse than others. And then you have some parents, honestly, who take advantage. Like, no, your child is not bad as hell. Your child just needs discipline. But of course, you're going to try and milk that to try and get a check. You know, what they like to call back in the day a crazy check. Wasn't nothing wrong with the kids. They'd have the kids go in and act the fool and, you know, act like they don't know if they're coming or going just to try and get some money. But unfortunately, it takes away from people who really have illnesses, who really have disabilities. And it also stigmatizes your child if they really don't have anything wrong with them. So I've never agreed with parents doing that to their kids, putting them on Social Security if they don't need it.
Yeah.
You know?
That's just like right now, I'm struggling because I'm like in a lot of pain because I have this pneumonia COVID pneumonia going on or whatever. And so I'm trying not to take as much pain pills. Because I can't handle it. As my doctors say, I'm delicate. Like it literally, I can't even be on birth control. Like I was supposed to be on a birth control so I could take another medication for my lupus. And it started shutting down my organs when I tried it for like a week and a half. So like I'm super sensitive to medicine, but my lungs hurt and breathing hurts and you need to breathe. So it's like give or take. And so I'm trying to take the medicine, but it's like, okay, I can't. And so I'm using essential oils right now. And it's like, okay, nothing's working. And I've been to the ER multiple times and they're like, well, you're fine. Kind of get out though, because you have COVID. And it's like, okay, y'all can't do nothing for me though. And it's just like this endless cycle. You feel, it comes back to the mental health. Like you're already at a fragile state because you have a chronic illness. You're fighting it by yourself because your family never will understand what you're going through. Even when they empathize with you, they still don't understand what you're going through. Then on top of it, you get caught up in the pandemic because people are being irresponsible. And then you don't get help.
Right.
And it's like, it just sucks.
It does. It's definitely an endless cycle. You know, I hope everything ends up working out for you. But thank you for calling in and sharing your story with us. I really appreciate it, sis.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So let me go ahead. It's 9:15. We'll take one more. And I said that like 2 people ago. So let me go ahead. I know Nemo's been on here forever as well. I know she was asking. Nemo, go ahead and unplug your mic.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Hey, gorgeous. I've been watching you since I was like 16, I think.
Okay.
So, and I really do enjoy everything you talk about. And like one of the other ladies was saying earlier today, you've really kept me out of a lot of things. Because you're very similar. You feel similar to my mom, and she's been passed for like 14 years now, but you feel similar to her, to me. So I really appreciate that. But as far as the sex stuff, so when I was in foster care due to my mom passing, and I was exposed to prostitution in one of the group homes I was at, it was to the point where it was mandatory for us to be on birth control at that placement. And I was like, what the fuck do I need birth control? I ain't fucking.
And you were how old? You were 14?
I was 16.
16. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not even fucking. What do I need birth control for? And they were like, well, these other girls, and there were 4 girls, including me, there. And I was the only girl there who was not prostituting or doing whatever. And like, it made sense that they did that, but also it boggled my mind because I was like, there's so much better for y'all to be doing. And it was to the point where they were like, well, I know this man, you look cute, he can do this, that, and the third for you. I was like, I'm not finna do that. And also, I feel like a lot of these girls, they were messing themselves up because, so in foster care, whoever is taking care of you for the moment gets a lot of money the more psych meds you are on. So while these girls were on these psych meds, whether they had depression, anxiety, multiple personality disorder, schizophrenia, they would mix other drugs with their psych meds and then mix alcohol on top of that, which we all know you are not supposed to mix psych meds with alcohol because that will literally kill you.
Yeah.
So, and I begged my caseworker to get me out of there. And I was like, I cannot do this. This is going to make me go crazy. Like, it was to the point where I was losing my hair because when I'm stressed, my hair is the first thing to go. So I was losing my hair and my eyebrows were falling off. And I was like, I can't live here. And it was just so much to like, the lady who owned the group home, she was fine with it.
So
And
you knew that the girls were prostituting themselves, and because I
yeah,
thought when you were in group homes, y'all had to be in at a certain time and all that stuff. So did this happen like after school, or were they sneaking out
they
at
weren't in school. They
night?
were not in school. So at this group home, so when you're in foster care, depending on how you are, meaning your mental state, you can stay in until you're 26.
Oh wow.
So see, these girls were older than me, but because they were taking their psych meds and doing drugs and then mixing it with alcohol, their minds were kind of like mush.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even to the point where like when they'd be sober, they were slurring their words. So like once they got all the drugs and alcohol out of their system and they wake up the next morning, their words would slur to the point where I couldn't understand them. And I'm a person who speaks perfect English. So if you're not speaking English to me, I don't know. I don't understand slang either. So it was just so bad. And also I've met girls who feel like, and boys too, but they feel like getting a sugar daddy, being a prostitute, being a stripper, going into porn will get them out of the foster care system. They see that as a get out.
Mm.
And that's like something that I thought it was just there in that good for nothing city, but I mentor foster kids, and even some of the girls in that organization, they were saying the same thing. Like, I just want to be grown. I was running away and, stripping so I could take care of myself. And it's just while there's supposed to be rules and regulations that govern foster care and govern the group homes.
Mm-hmm.
If you have piece of shit staff that don't care about the kids, nothing is going to happen. I would wake up in the middle of the night because the alarms were going off because someone tripped them either going in or coming out. I mean, going out or coming in. I'm sorry. And it was just wild, but that's something that in foster care, like that, they see that as a way to get out.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you have a lot of foster care people who only care about money. So that is the problem. And I know a lot of people are in the chat saying that as well, that were in
Mm-hmm.
foster care or that were, foster parents, is that a lot of foster care people or who are in the foster care system who are meant to take care of those girls, as long as they're getting a check, they don't care what happens.
Exactly. And that's why,
Anybody.
especially in the state of Georgia, like that's where I live.
Mm-hmm.
There's a shortage on foster parents. Now check it though. Foster parents will do more for a child in every way possible than a group home will, but they get paid so much less. So when I was with the only foster parent I was with, or no, the only one who's as honest with me as I would like them to be, she told me that, as a teenager, she got $250 a month for me. And that was when they remembered to send the check on time. When I was in that same group home with them girls prostituting themselves, that lady, she was able to charge the state a certain amount of money daily for me. So she ended up getting $5,000 a month just for me.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
And mind you now, let me tell you something. Exactly. Let me tell you something. Out of all the children she had, I was the one who had the least amount of problems. And what I mean by that is, yes, I do have mental illnesses, but they're like the most common ones. So like, anxiety, depression, bipolar, and like PTSD, the most common ones. She had children in there who would talk to themselves. They were schizophrenic and they had multiple personalities.
So she was getting a super big check. So she's getting 5 for you. She's probably getting 10 to 12 for them.
One of them, she was getting 20 a month.
Wow.
Yeah. So because I know what I want to do with my life, I do eventually, like I plan on being a foster parent and I plan on having a group home because I'm a person, if I see something and I don't like the way it's done, I'll do it myself.
Exactly.
So I'm not going to be in it for the money. And when I am able to own a group home,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put the money that they send me for the kids in savings accounts. So by the time they get out, they'll be able to have like a little cushion, and also they'll be able to know how to budget and credit, because there's so much stuff they don't teach us anything, not a damn thing. And then if you don't act right, they'll send you to the most awful placements that do more harm than good. So by the time it was time for me to get out, I had ended up being in um, a ILP, which is an independent living program, which basically they teach you like life skills, this, that, and the third. When really the only thing they had to teach me was like applications, but there's so much more that they don't teach us at all. And it's like, how are y'all trying to make sure that we don't become these statistics? Because the statistics for us are awful. We got kids out here that don't graduate, to the point where they'll literally have a celebration every year. They'll take us to like a hotel. They give us laptops and printers just because you graduated. And we spend like a whole weekend at these fancy ass hotels. We've been to the Westin and some other ones, you know, the hotels in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And the year that I graduated, it wasn't even 300 kids.
Wow.
And the kids who stay at that hotel is every foster child in the state that graduates.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with the system that is, you know, very corrupt, and hopefully, you know, you getting involved, you will be able to make a change in somebody else's life. So thank you so much for sharing your story, and I appreciate you for calling in.
Yeah, thank you for having this platform.
You're more than welcome. So you guys, before we go, I almost forgot. Rejoice had to remind me. She had made a game. So if you need to leave, you can leave. But she has a game for us to play. Rejoice.
See, I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm not sure she's a co-host anymore.
I did. I changed it to co-host. I had yeah, she's a co-host.
She's a co-host now? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I also messaged her. Can she hear us? Because I want her to post the link so we can start the game. Because it's already it'll be 10 o'clock soon.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, you want to go ahead and describe the game? And
I'm here. I'm about to. Okay, so the one that I'm going to be posting today is called Famous Scandals, and it's basically the 10 of the most famous scandals that has happened recently. Some of them are in the past, but most of them are like, the recentest one is like, I think 2018, and I think the latest is like 2010. Yeah. So I'm gonna be sending the link. Let me find it.
Chat room?
Yeah.
Okay. So she'll be posting a link in the chat room if you guys want to join. Somebody said, hey, we playing a game. I'm doing good, Angel Cakes. Thank you. Oh. This has been an amazing.
Wrong one. It did not copy over. Hold on. I thought I sent it. No, it's not copying over. Hold on.
I don't know. Sometimes it does. It acts like real funny.
Yeah, because I keep copying and pasting it, but it's just not.
Or post it on like a notepad and then copy from there and then paste it. Sometimes I do that. Oh, you like my hoodie? Thank you. I'll bet.
I'm just gonna.
I love my anime characters. Charlie says I'm getting my Black Anna hoodie soon. That's what's up.
I'm getting mine for New Year's.
Are you?
Yep.
I just ordered mine. I can't wait to see it. People are like, what show is that from? The damn show of Lovely Tea on YouTube?
I sent the link, everyone. I don't know if you guys can click on it, but I sent it.
In the chat?
Yeah.
Okay, I see it.
Can you post it again? Because there's many people asking it. They cannot see it.
Yeah, I posted a few times.
Okay.
For the people
If
who are
it's not
saying
clickable, just
clickable,
copy and paste it.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
See, there are some people who are telling you that Teespring won't let them complete their purchase.
Oh, you know what? They're supposed to be fixing that on Teespring, because I had emailed them like, what's going on? For some reason, it's not letting you make the purchase through your phone. But if you go onto teespring.com on the computer, it will let you make the purchase. They said it's some type of glitch, so they're trying to fix it. Because the same thing happened to me when I tried to order on my phone, nothing happened. But then when I went on the computer, it went through. So you had to do it on the computer, unfortunately.
So there are people who are asking where they're supposed to paste it. They're supposed to paste it on a new browser, like copy and then open a new web page and then paste it there.
Where's my regular crowd?
There we go. I sent a clickable link.
Okay. And to log into the sites that we can get the tally on who wins.
Yeah. How many people we got in here? Oh wow.
Log in, honey. Okay, I'm in there now.
Okay.
It's the famous scandals.
We got,
All right.
yeah. We have 97 participants so far, so we'll wait for 3 more. Oh, it says the limit has been reached. Yeah, so I'm gonna start the game because the limit has been reached.
Okay.
Okay, and
All right, good luck. We went from 113 people to 29 survivors. Dang.
wow.
A lot of folks got that wrong. Okay.
Wait, which one I got wrong? Let me see which one.
Oh.
How did people get the? You know what? That's okay. That's okay.
I guess the second one. I got it right though. We are down to 14 people. Okay, let's see.
So the people who are saying the game is for a young person, Rejoice is young.
All right. That was a close one. Oh, it was, okay. Down to 6 people. Okay, so all 6 got that right. Did you see it go from 1 to 4 people, Rejoice?
Yeah.
Okay, I think it has to keep going through like all the questions.
Yeah, because I think people are going at their own pace, and so it
Oh,
just, yeah, I think that's how it works.
okay, so we're on question number 7. It goes up to 10, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, looks like we're down to 2 survivors. You're both tied. Jesse Smollett.
Based off the answers that I'm seeing that people typed in, they probably did not read the question correctly.
All right. This is the last question. Oh, I forget her name. Okay. Why does it have it tied?
You have to look at the numbers that
Let me go
total
to
and
wait.
wait.
Yeah.
I guess this is, you just have to wait for it. That's why.
Yeah, we're finished at the number 11. All right, there we go. We have to hit the end button because it's just gonna bring up another game.
Okay.
Okay, so it has 3 people. It has Yo Yo Yo, Shy B, and Cal.
You go against the world.
Who said that?
Do you want them to play the second game?
Yeah, it's gonna be between those 3.
Okay, let me get the second game.
Okay, so you 3 won. I lost after the 3rd question. Yeah, I kept seeing Shy B's name on there. And then the other 2 popped up. So I think because people are answering them at different times.
Yeah.
So we could just do like a short one with those 3.
Oh wait, I have to do another Survivor one. Hold on. I'll just get a random Survivor one because I think the next one is a team.
Yeah, just do a random one that's already populated.
Yeah, hold on. I need a short one. Why are all of these 15 questions? These are all 15 questions. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Oh, I could change the count. I guess it just enter. It's not. Why is it not?
Girls, I can just make up a question for the 3 people. So only the 3 people can answer. Let's do that. That's gonna be
Because I can't find any that are less than 15 right now.
All right, so who is it? Shy B, Yo Yo, and who's the other person?
I don't know who the other person is.
Kel. So if you 3 can unmute your mics. So Shy B, Kel, and Yo Yo.
Yo-Yo is no longer in there. I don't think so. I cannot find him.
Okay, Shabby.
I'm trying to unmute people myself. I unmuted Shy B. I cannot find Yo-Yo. And who is the third person you said?
The third person was named Kel, K-E-L.
K-E-L.
Yeah, Shabby.
I found Kel.
Really bad.
There are two Kel though. There are Kel, that's it, and Kel 0307.
Who is the Kel that that is in there? Are they both playing?
One is a guy, the other one is a girl. I don't know if that can help.
So they don't know which one of them won? Like,
No,
did you win?
Because there's two Kel.
No, I'm saying like the people who won, they're not saying anything. Okay, well, if nobody else is saying anything, then Shy B won. Because I'm not gonna do a contest and nobody else is speaking.
I asked both of them to unmute themselves, but they have not approved my request.
Okay, so we could just give it to Shy B.
It's not me. It's not me.
Okay.
So it's not Kel 037. So is it the other Kel? I guess there's only two.
But they're not saying anything?
Kel,
Unmute them and see what happens.
And Yo-Yo, I think he left the chat. I cannot find him.
Okay, well, Shy B, you won. Because you hung in there. So, Shy B, send me your Cash App, and I will Cash App you $50 for winning. So congratulations to you. I was like trying to unmute her, but her mic was like sounding really bad. I say by saying congratulations. Is she still here?
Yep, she's still here,
Okay,
but she has not approved my request to unmute herself either.
Okay, I'll hit her and ask her to unmute.
Hello.
No,
Hey, Shy.
Hello.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, is it Shy?
Yes.
Okay, phone sounds like really bad. Just put your Cash App in the chat. Yeah, that back feed sounds horrible. Sounds like it's like garbled or something. Yeah, just type it in the chat so I can Cash App you the money. Somebody said her phone is farting and talking shit. Y'all are wilding in the chat.
Sorry, this is my first Zoom.
Yeah, it's okay. Just type your you have Cash App?
Yes.
Okay. Type it in the chat. Sometimes people's phones mess up. It's okay. It might be like where she's at. Sometimes it's the location. Somebody said it sounds like Darth Vader. Oh, y'all are cracking me up. Oh my goodness, y'all are too funny. I don't see her Cash App.
Shy B, I sent you a private message on Discord if you want to answer me and just give me the Cash App and I'll give it to Lovely T.
Yeah, because it's getting late. Somebody said she posted it. Let me go back up because I didn't see it.
Same.
Yeah, I don't see it in here. Somebody said, Luke, I am your winner. I can't stand y'all. Okay.
I see it.
Okay. Shy. Okay, cool. That is so funny. They said, Luke, I am your winner. Y'all are wildin'. Okay, I found it. All right, I just sent it to her. So you guys, thank you. Thank you for y'all's patience with the game thing. I appreciate it. And thank you guys once again for coming through this evening. This was a wonderful chat, and it was just so nice to talk to people from so many different walks of life and hear from you guys and you guys' situations and what you guys have been through and experienced. So I appreciate everybody who, you know, hung in there, who called in. Sorry if I wasn't able to answer your call, but we will have another Zoom meeting. So try again, you know, next time we have Zoom, and hopefully you'll get through. So good night, you guys. Thank you.
Bye. Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.
Oh,
Good night.
Yes.
Good night.
bye, you
Bye,
guys.
T.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.